All right, here we go. It is drive time. It's a Tuesday afternoon. Lovely day. We are inching closer and closer to good conditions, warm conditions, heading our way this weekend. It's about 55 degrees today. The sun is mostly shining here in downtown Salt Lake City, Utah. A lovely Tuesday afternoon. And as it is every single day, it is good to have you along for the ride. Spence Checketts behind the mic, Porter Larson producing the program today. Behind the glass, booking a good show today, good guest list today, and a lot to get to on the program. The Utah Mammoth, despite an unbelievable comeback last night against Vegas, dropped the game in overtime, 5-4, hell of a hockey game. But unfortunately, the Mammoth were not able to get it done. The series heads back to Vegas for a late drop of the puck tomorrow night. It is an 8 o'clock drop of the puck on TNT, True TV, or HBO Max. So many different streaming options for playoff hockey and playoff basketball now. We'll get to the storylines from Vegas's win in Game 4 in overtime. An unbelievable atmosphere once again. And a lot of people are saying it feels like Salt Lake has had hockey here for 30 years, man. I keep hearing broadcasters say that. We're going to talk some Mammoth on the program today to review what happened last night and look ahead to Game 5 tomorrow in Las Vegas. So we'll get to some Stanley Cup playoff action. There's a new Jeremy Woo mock draft up on ESPN.com. We will find out where the Utah Jazz are going to be picking coming up on May the 10th. NBA playoff action last night kind of went, I think, as we expected. We did a little playoff basketball to finish the show yesterday. Denver looked really good once again. I should say Denver finally looked good offensively. That's how I'll put that. 125-113. Jokic looked like Jokic. And the T-Wolves, I think, are going to be in a little bit of trouble here without Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo. Probably their two best perimeter options. We talked about the potential of Chris Finch needing to lean into some Mike Conley minutes, and we saw that early. We didn't see it late because Mike got gassed pretty quick. Bones Highland logged 23 minutes. We saw some Terrence Shannon Jr., Kyle Anderson played. Even Joe Ingles got into the game. They dusted off Joe Ingles. But a big game from Jokic, 27, 16, and 12, as he typically does. And they got some good production from some of the other pieces, namely Spencer Jones, who had a bit of a breakout game, and he got the start. He had 20 points in 37 minutes, knocked down 4 or 5 from 3. And the third quarter, Denver just ran away and hid from Minnesota. So the Orlando Magic have the Detroit Pistons on the ropes, as we discussed yesterday, 94-88. And Orlando now leads that series 3-1. The Oklahoma City Thunder made short work of the Phoenix Suns, as we thought they would. They are right now the clear favorite to win the title. That's the best team in basketball, and I don't know that it's close, if I'm honest. Playoff action tonight, and we will have the Hawks-Knicks game live at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, in the heart of downtown New York City, Midtown Manhattan. 5 o'clock will be the 76ers and the Celtics at TD Garden. Boston trying to put Philly out of their misery. And then the Spurs will look to close out the Blazers tonight at Frost Bank Center in San Antonio, Texas. So, a lot to do. Of course, NFL draft takeaways, and a lot of off-season storylines in both pro and college football we'll get to. Kind of give you an update on where the local players have landed who were not drafted. And we'll do a little football on the show as well. Our first guest right out of the gates, live in studio, is our guy Chris Comrade from The Athletic, our college football insider, college football savant. Latest on the Greg Argest situation at the University of Utah. We do know who the new man in charge of strength and conditioning is for Utah. We'll kind of get into some of that on the show today with CK. RSL will be back in action coming up this weekend for an early kick in Sandy against Portland. Haven't talked to CK since Lionel Messi was in town, so we'll do some soccer with Chris as well. NBA Daily Assist Style with Zach Harper. Nick Olachek from the Mammoth broadcast team. This is the Reality Check podcast. Remember, every Tuesday we are able to simulcast my new podcast with our friends at Sinclair and KUTV. So you'll hear Nick Olachek on the show today, and then you'll have access to that via the podcast that will officially be released tomorrow and then televised on Friday. If you want to see what the podcast looks like on TV, tune in on Friday nights to both KMYU and KJazz at 9:30 to watch the Reality Check podcast. And it is episode 5. Morgan Scally, Alex Jensen, Pablo Mastroianni, Brian Dunseth, and now Nick Olachek. Those are our first 5 episodes. Been a lot of fun to get that going. So you'll hear from Nick Olachek, some Utah Mammoth in the 4 o'clock hour. And then the show comes to a screeching halt at 4:30 when Dave Fox is live in studio. Chris Camerani, Zach Harper, Nick Olachek, Dave Fox, me, Spence Checketts. All of you, the great listeners, happy Tuesday. We are high speed ahead to the best weather month in Utah. In my opinion, that is the month of May, a few days away. And Porter Larson producing the show today. Tusks up, Mammoth Fever. Hello, young man. How are you?
I'm well. Quite a hockey game last night. That was really fun to watch. Obviously, they don't get the win, but entertaining from start to finish. The comeback, the overtime, the goal that was not a goal in overtime. It was just a lot of fun to watch and follow, and a team, Spence, that still has an opportunity to get out of the first round in their first ever playoff series. That's honestly as much as you could hope for if you are a Tusks up folk. That's as much as you can hope for in a playoff bout.
Yeah, I don't know how greedy we can get. I talked to Nick about this. You'll hear from Nick Olachek, who is a hockey lifer. His father played 16 years in the NHL for 6 different teams, including my New York Rangers in 1994 when they hoisted the Stanley Cup. How greedy can we get? Of course, still work to do, as now this series is deadlocked at 2. All right, CK live in studio today. Before we get to Chris, courtesy of our good friends at IFA Country Stores. On a Tuesday, it's time now for your opening tip. Now, with IFA's Weed and Feed, you'll grow strong, healthy, dark green turf without a weed in sight. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move. Now at IFA.coop or at one of your local stores. Shout out to our good friends at IFA. All right, another incredible scene at the Delta Center last night as the Utah Mammoth battled the Vegas Golden Knights Game 4. And it was an unbelievable hockey game that really gave you about everything you could want outside of the Mammoth coming out, of course, on the right side of things. Vegas came out in a flurry. They looked like they were – and look, they had to be urgent last night. We talked about this with Roxy Bernstein on the show yesterday. John Tortorella, 5th among current coaches in postseason wins. This man has won a Stanley Cup. He has basically seen everything as it pertains to what pro hockey can manifest. He's coached the national team. He's coached young teams. He's coached veteran teams. And he has got a Vegas Golden Knight team that has 11 players with 14 combined Stanley Cups and legitimate superstars in Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner, Mark Stone, their captain. And you knew that they were going to come out urgent last night to make sure – you know, 3-1 comebacks in NHL hockey actually a little bit more commonplace than it is in NBA basketball. Rarely happens in NBA hoops. We'll see if the Nuggets can pull it off. But going down 3-1, basically the percentages are saying, like, yeah, you got a shot, but if you don't get that done, the Mammoths still have an opportunity to close it out at home. And so it was urgent time for Vegas, and you could tell that obviously they were in a spot where they played very urgently, and you can't fake urgency. You know, if your back is up against the wall, ultimately you got to come out and make sure that you're throwing the first couple of swings, and they did that. Okay, so it was 2-1 pretty quick and 3-0 after that, and I think a lot of people just felt like, all right, that's probably going to be it. And ultimately, the Mammoth showed a lot of mettle, a lot of fight in front of that crowd, and Coach Torney talked about it after the game where he said, I'm proud of the way our guys responded to adversity. It was a hard-fought game. We know how good they can be, and I think we responded well in the second half of the game. It wasn't a great start for Vejmelka, Karel Vejmelka, the goaltender for the Mammoth, but he settled in and played much better after that rough start. Carter Hart, I think, probably reclaimed his job, although he continues to look really, really shaky. And that, to me, is the one thing that I look at as to why I still believe the Mammoth are going to win this series. Now, when you look at the Golden Knights and when you look at what they have at their disposal, their backup keeper is actually the goalie that they won the Stanley Cup with. But when John Tortorella took over, he just believed that Carter Hart was, obviously a better option. And it worked to end the regular season when the Vegas Golden Knights essentially won 7 of their final 8 games with Carter Hart in between the pipes. But he has looked shaky. And that, if you're Utah, because of the Mammoth's ability to outskate Vegas and a tremendous amount of skilled players in Dylan Guenther and Lawson Krause and Logan Cooley and, of course, Clayton Keller, who's now turned it on, looked a little bit better, got his first goal of the series last night. Just put the puck on goal. I mean, make Carter Hart prove to you that he can save the series for a Vegas team that, again, is a veteran, big, and physical. They continue to try to out-physical the Mammoth a little bit, but it's interesting as the series has gone on, a lot of the scrums that we saw in Game 1 and Game 2, we didn't see a ton of that last night. And that, to me, indicated Vegas certainly was coming out very intentional to make sure that they did everything they possibly could to basically stay in the series. There wasn't a lot of extracurricular activities last night. There just wasn't. So maybe some of the stuff that we've seen, and by the way, Aiden Hill is the backup goalie's name, who won a Stanley Cup with Vegas. Maybe some of the extracurricular activities are no longer going to manifest themselves in the series. And maybe Vegas has just realized, like, even though they came out with the intent of trying to intimidate this young Mammoth team, even though they came out with the intent of trying to bully this young Mammoth team, it didn't work. Like, they tried it, and the Mammoth took a 2-1 series lead. Vegas just kind of went back to basics, and John Tortorella made some changes, like Roxy said yesterday he thought they would do with some of the lines to kind of mix and match some of the players, and it worked for Vegas. But series deadlocked at 2. Mammoth still with a great opportunity to get this thing done. They're going to have to win another one in Vegas, but they've already done that. And they were good against Vegas in the regular season. Anaheim has a chance to close out Edmonton tonight. Buffalo has a chance to close out Boston. Really good series with Minnesota and Dallas deadlocked at 2 games apiece. So the Stanley Cup playoffs roll along, and the Mammoth and the Vegas Golden Knights find themselves deadlocked at 2 games apiece. All right, Chris Kamrani, live in studio. We'll do some college football with CK, some NFL with CK, maybe a little RSL later on. And then we're going to welcome in Zach Harper for the NBA Daily Assist, Nick Olachek for some more Mammoth, and Dave Fox later on. Busy Tuesday drive. Good to have you along for the ride right here on ESPN 700. I don't know why I was in the mood for Steely Dan today, Chris Camerani, but are you mad at it?
Not even a little bit.
Okay, good. Hello, Chris. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you. We're going to get your Champions League soccer on the YouTube television here.
It's 5-3.
Who's playing again?
PSG and Bayern. First leg.
Is
5-3 in the second half.
Is PSG still good?
Yes.
But they had like a superpower team not too long ago, right?
I think we talked about this last year when they won. It was the Ewing effect. They had Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe.
That's right.
Everyone. First year they get rid of all three, they win Champions League.
Yeah, and ultimately it ruined FIFA for everybody because anybody it got to the point where if I logged on
Turbo
PSG, I would
just quit.
Tap out. There's no point.
You would start scoring goals on yourself just to make the other person feel weird.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
That's
like I'm not going to allow this to happen.
It's a good approach.
This aggression will not stand.
It will not, dude. Are you still? You got the sticks out at all anymore? Neither do I, man.
They are coated in dust.
All right, let's get to a random piece of news. As our college football insider,
here for it,
expert savant, Greg Argust, been with the program for 24 years. Did you say?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that's what was reported. Yeah.
Okay, so he got a promotion just a few weeks ago, and now he is unemployed. He has decided to resign. Any insight on what went down here?
No insight. It is a fascinating peek into the Morgan Scalley project. For the uninitiated, Doug Elisaya was the head of the strength and conditioning program for Utah football for a very long time, known as one of the best in the business. He left to go to Michigan with Kyle Whittingham. Greg Argust, who's been around for a long time, I mean, going back to when I was a student reporter at the Daily Utah Chronicle eons ago, Greg was around and, very well-respected guy. And it seemed like he was kind of the logical choice if Doug was ever to move on, and he was. And Morgan even shouted him out a couple times during spring availabilities this year to talk about how, in shape these guys got into, preparing for spring ball. And then, he resigned. This is the kind of thing where you have to shout out, I know, as you did, the beat writers who are doing the yeoman's work.
For sure.
Jason Patacchio broke the story, got a no comment from Greg Argust, which usually means that things did not end amicably behind the scenes. And to me, I mean, this is like the quintessential offseason college football story. Like if we are really in the throes of, being in dire straits without college football, I get it. If we're dissecting what happened with the strength and conditioning coach, but it is interesting because we've talked about how Morgan Scalley wants to put his stamp on the program and how he was kind of forced to when Kyle Whittingham took so many coaches with him to Michigan, including Doug Elisaya, who is very well highly thought of, and now you have this new strength and conditioning coach, Steve Saunders, who has a checkered past, to say the least, during his time in the NFL.
So Steve Saunders may be a big Joe Rogan guy. He was suspended for violating COVID-19 protocol. Obviously,
during the 2020 season when it was very intense.
Correct. And obviously back then there was a lot of just weird information going around where suddenly not wearing a mask indicated that you were an alpha male. So stuff got weird. But I don't know much about him. There's been a lot of social media conversation that I try not to put a lot of stock in. So I'm just speculating that might be irresponsible. Is it just something as simple as Morgan just decided he wanted to hire Steve and then Greg was out of a job, or do you think there's more there?
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, you know me, I'm always a proponent for anytime something interesting goes down regarding a giant moneymaker like college football, it behooves everybody involved to get in front of a microphone and at least explain what happened and why from their point of view.
Yep.
Granted, this happens after spring ball where Morgan won't have to for a very long time. But listen, this is a little peek behind the curtain, like I said, to see how Morgan Scalley's doing things. It's very interesting, like I said, that he individually shouted out Greg Argust during these spring, availabilities. The University of Utah football program had a kind of behind-the-scenes video highlighting Greg and his strength team.
Yeah.
Put out.
Here to stay was the tweet.
You said it, not me.
And, Greg was, kind of outlining who his staff was, and Steve Saunders was on that staff. What could have happened behind the scenes in the last 2 or 3 weeks? I don't know. But let's wait to see if Morgan will shed some light on it. I think he should. If you're going to be the type of person who claims to have a transparent approach with the fan base and the donors the way Morgan does, I think it would behoove him to explain what's going on. And for reporters who are, pounding the dirt and trying to get Greg Argosson on the phone, maybe Greg will be able to give his side of the story as well.
I would imagine that probably is where the information will eventually come from. I have no knowledge about some sort of buyout or contractual, like, hey, NDA type thing. I don't know. But I feel like what the approach has been more often than not from the Utah Athletic Department is in lockstep with what the approach is for a lot of people, which is it's such a busy news cycle. Everyone shut up. And in 72 hours, people will have moved on to something else.
24 hours.
That's my best guess.
I think that seems to be the approach. And again, we're talking about a strength and conditioning coach. This is not the offensive coordinator. This is not even the quarterback's coach. But we'll see.
It's an important position, though.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know the ins and outs of the importance of, a strength and conditioning staff being on top of its game. Obviously, all I know is that when a strength and conditioning staff does its job, the players stay healthy. And when they don't, players get hurt. And I say that tongue-in-cheek because that's how most fans generally decide to swing their sword is if the team has a bunch of injuries, it's the training staff's fault. If the team doesn't have injuries, they win awards. That's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah, and it is kind of a silly narrative because it probably has something to do with the fact that football is a violent sport and people get hurt.
A little bit. Played on synthetic turf a lot of the times.
That's my hot take on injuries.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But for listeners that may not be familiar, so the Steve Saunders situation, he was disciplined during 2020 when COVID was at its height during a widespread COVID outbreak in Baltimore. And according to the sourcing, Saunders had not routinely worn a proximity tracker or a mask, which was required by the NFL rules, and then had not reported potential COVID-19 symptoms as he worked with players. So he was suspended for a month, and the Ravens were fined $250,000 for coronavirus protocol violations stemming from their outbreak, which sidelined 23 players on the reserved COVID-19 list. So that's what happened with the suspension. I've got a Harbaugh quote in front of me, but it's a nothing burger. He said he's back working, came back last week. Beyond that, I really have no comments on it. It is what it is. We never do comment on internal discipline at all, whoever it might be. We're just moving forward. I don't know about you, but I think for me, beta males were the real, that was the real pandemic. Continues to be.
So if we're basing, if we're going off of reports about how Steve Saunders was viewed throughout his time in Baltimore, there are, news stories out there that a lot of former Ravens players were unhappy with the way he conducted himself. In the NFLPA survey, the Ravens got an F-, which I did not know was possible on the grading system.
I didn't even know that was a thing. F-.
And there were lots of former players who took to social media to criticize Steve Saunders' approach. And they didn't really get into the nitty-gritty, but a couple notable guys. Matthew Judon, who was one of the best defensive ends in the league for a while, had a very straightforward tweet about it. Derek Wolfe went on a local radio station in Baltimore and talked about how he felt like he was not adequately prepared to come back from injury. And then on the other side of it, you have former Utah great Eric Weddle, who's taken to social media to defend Steve Saunders, said he's the best strength and conditioning coach he's ever worked with, that he recommended him to Morgan. This is one of those situations where both things can be true if you're looking at it logically. I think one guy can have a really good relationship with a certain person and then other people can't.
Yeah, I think that's how most relationships go as it pertains to just the workplace, right? And so I can't speak to this personally. I don't know Steve at all. I don't know Greg at all either. You can just Google search Steve Saunders Ravens, and then you can look at the tweets from former players that didn't think he was good at his job. Then you can look at the tweets from former players that actually really liked him. So there's feedback on both sides. I know nothing about this man, so I can't speak to it personally.
Well, and I don't either. But one thing I will say is, there has been a groundswell response to Greg Argus resigning from former Utah players who are who love Greg Argus.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And
okay.
are kind of puzzled as to what happens.
Okay.
We'll see.
I hadn't seen much of that, but again, I'd really try not to live on social the way that I used to.
Unlike me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know that you're a big Twitter guy.
Yeah.
I know. Are you ticking with the talking yet?
Capital J journalist.
Are you talking with the ticking yet? Okay. All right. I don't think it's rare for a former player. I'm going to lose CK here because we actually got Champions League on now. I don't think it's rare for a former player who has the status of Eric Weddle to, swing a pretty meaningful sword as far as, the effect he may have on decision making and the influence he may have on his former teammate. He's also got a son who's a pretty good high school football player,
5-star recruit.
So I would imagine you'd love to be in on the mix with Gage, who appears to be a great player. I've interviewed Eric probably 50 times and met him a couple of times. I don't know him that well, but it's not uncommon, especially for his teammate to be the head coach, to have some influence. Fair to say?
I think so, and I think this is an example of what has been saying the quiet part out loud, I think, for a lot of former Utah football players who have said that things are quote-unquote more chill or easier or more accessible since Morgan has taken over. Now, as we've talked about ad nauseum on the show since that change took place, does that translate to wins? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Are the vibes that much higher? It depends on who you ask and who you want to believe. But I think it's safe to say that there are former players who are able to get into the ear of the Utah football coach, unlike his predecessor.
Oh, 100%. And
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's the reality.
It's exactly what I was going to say. Like, as you have said a few different times, not saying one is right and one is wrong. One is different than the other. I think that's safe to say. And I will continue to beat this over the head. We talked about it yesterday. And you just underscored it, but I'll continue to talk about it. We won't know if this approach works until we actually see football games played.
Yeah.
And, I think with the recent news, and I do want to get to the Brendan Sorsby stuff, not surprised at all. Feel bad for that kid because, he's going to take a lot of heat. And, $5 million NIL tag to go to Texas Tech, and you're still throwing some cash down on DraftKings or FanDuel, and apparently he did it on the team he was with, Indiana, but he didn't play much as a redshirt freshman, so they're not saying he bet on games he played in. Texas Tech will enter the season with the quarterback room they have. Now, the reports are Will Hammond is back and throwing, and Utah fans know who Will Hammond is.
Heisman Trophy front runner based on that.
Right. He rolled into Salt Lake and looked awesome. So maybe if Hammond is ready, you still go with Tech as the favorite. If he misses 3 games, I guess they've got a kid who played quarterback at Tulsa last year and a redshirt freshman. So there are things that are shaping up. Utah's schedule is manageable. They get BYU at home. They avoid Texas Tech. So there are things that are shaping up that I think fans could potentially look at as excitement, but we just don't know if the approach is going to be conducive to results. And what's inarguable is Kyle's approach was conducive to results. And we'll only time will tell if Morgan's approach is.
This is a direct byproduct of a significant sea change. There's a reason why Kyle Whittingham lasted 21 years at the University of Utah. It's because, as we say on the drive, Monday through Friday, 2 to 5.
6.
Proof of concept works. Kyle has it. Not saying Morgan doesn't, but we literally have no data. So for folks who are saying that things are going to be different and that the offense is going to be the Urban Meyer show of 2003 and 2004, pump the brakes because nobody knows anything.
Yeah, we were kind of discussing this yesterday about what Kevin McGivern's offense will look like. It does appear, at least on paper, there is more talent at the wide receiver position than there has been in the past. So, look, a lot of people looked at the bowl game and was like, okay, air raid, here we go, boom, through the air. Morgan, during media availability, completely dispelled that notion. Like, it felt like he was being intentional to let fans know, like, no, we're still going to run the football the way we did under Kyle. I mean, that was kind of what I took away from the messaging.
Well, you have to. And I will continue to run down this road and probably run headfirst into a wall. But no matter how good some of these transfers on the outside are, it won't matter if a brand new offensive line cannot hold up. You're talking about a likely 18-year-old true freshman kid playing on one side. Now you're likely having another starter who just won an FCS championship in Cedric Jefferson with Montana State on the other side, and then a bunch of guys who've played some minutes, but they haven't been out-and-out starters. None of it works unless the big dudes up front can do their job, and we don't know if they can yet. We knew that last year's team could. We definitely knew that. But the disparity was there wasn't that much talent on the outside, which is why they were one of the best rushing teams in the country, because they had to be.
Spencer Fano, 9 to the Browns. Caleb Lomu, 28 to the Patriots. About where you expected?
Oh, well, in my mock, yeah.
Well, I know you were. I mean, I don't want to get into your process because I don't want to bore people, but I figured you were grinding. You should do a mock.
I should.
Yeah.
Every year?
Next year.
On the show.
Yeah.
Live.
For the Athletic. A live mock?
Live mock.
Okay, we're doing that next year.
Done.
Feel about right, 9 and 28?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought Lomu might have slipped out of the first round, but based on my conversations with scouts and folks in NFL front offices, I can't even say.
Were you invited to the Fano draft party?
I was not.
It's too bad.
Was.
Why do you think?
Well, because I was in Moab.
So if you were in town, you would have gone.
I would not have gone. No.
Do you think you would have been invited?
I don't think I would have been invited.
Were media members invited?
I think one was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, let's get over to the Sorsby story because I'm interested in your take here. So for our listeners that may have missed it, if you're a sports fan, you very much did not. Brennan Sorsby, who was a starter for Cincinnati for 2 years and a really good player, like the main reason Cincinnati was relevant because Brennan Sorsby, their starting quarterback, was really, really good. According to ESPN, he was the #1 transfer portal target in all of college football. Texas Tech snagged him with a $5 million NIL price tag, and it was announced that he has checked into a residential treatment program for gambling addiction. And as the story kind of continues to unravel, he is accused to have made thousands and thousands of bets since 2002 on several different betting platforms and prediction markets. Redshirt freshman in 2002 for Indiana. He played one game as a reserve. So there were bets in 2002 on Indiana to win, but none came in a game in which he appeared. See, the issue is that, I mean, because this stuff is on your phone and because the platforms mandate that you prove that you're a real person, all of this is trackable. You can't get away with any of it. I don't know if this is just a ignorant, youthful situation. I don't want to be insensitive to a addiction because what our brain chemistry tells us is winning a sports bet is akin to shooting heroin into your arm when you get that dopamine hit. So I really want to be sensitive here because I do feel bad for this kid. He was going to be among the Heisman quarterback hopefuls, a potential first-round pick. It's Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Sam Levitt, and then you get into the Brendan Sorsby area, and he'll still have a chance to play pro football. I don't know if you've noticed the NFL's ability to look past certain pieces of bad behavior.
I don't know, though, man.
But here's the thing,
quarterback
Chris.
position is viewed totally different.
But here's the thing. I don't see any avenue to which he plays football this year.
I don't think so either.
This is his 5th year, and as a result of recent legislation, this is it.
Yeah.
His college football career is probably over.
Probably. Dan Patrick was really good on this morning, and he spoke basically for 10 minutes about just the murky waters of the conglomerate that is professional sports media and gambling. Mm-hmm. He's talking about DraftKings as one of his show's main sponsors. But what Dan said that struck me the most is like, what people don't understand when they're betting is like, you're renting this money. You're not keeping it, because the odds are not in your favor, because the odds are you're going to be tempted to try to go back to the well to try to make more. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
I think Dan said that 83% of young men have one of the apps on their phone, gambling apps on their phone.
It's not just young men anymore. It's like men. I think what I read, like 22 to 55, 83% of men either have a prediction market or a sports book on their phone.
This was inevitable, as you said, and not that the NCAA has a backbone or ever has, but this will give them an opportunity to kind of lay the groundwork for repercussions, how things should go. They've dealt with this recently in basketball. We really haven't dealt with it at this level. This was inevitable, and I don't know where we go from here, because the reality is Brendan Sorsby is kind of the guy that, I don't want to say got caught, because we don't know if he turned himself in because the heat was getting too hot. I don't know. But like, he is kind of patient zero, so to speak, for like where we are with all this stuff.
And I do think the NCAA or whoever the hell is in charge has been waiting for a poster child.
Sure.
To say, if you do this, then you're going to get Brendan Sorsby. Okay. So I don't think they're going to come down light on him. Again, feel bad for the kid, and hopefully you can get some answers. I feel like the checking into the residential treatment facility in part is a gesture to say, I'm taking this seriously. Please let me play. Mm-hmm. But again, hopefully it's simply the help that he needs. And it's interesting, and I did not hear Dan say that, but that's a really good way to put it. I had heard an interview. It was a lady who had worked in casinos for years. And she was, she's the one where if you win $500 in chips, you could go take your chips and cash it in, and she gives you the cash. Mm-hmm. And she said for years and years and years, almost on a daily basis, someone who pulled a lucky slot would come over and cash in $10,000 because they got lucky. They played some $5 slots. They hit a $10,000 slot. They'd come over to me with $10,000 in chips. And she said, I wasn't supposed to tell them this, but I would tell them all the same thing. Do yourself a favor. Are you here with friends? Yes. Are you here with your family? Okay. Go gather everybody who's here. Go treat them to an awesome dinner and enjoy your night in Vegas, and go back to your hotel. Walk away. Mm-hmm. She said, I wasn't supposed to do this, but I would tell them to do it. And she said, inevitably, the majority of them would come back to her 2 hours later asking for credit. Like they had lost the 10 grand. They're like, okay, because again, the mind says, okay, well, I just won 10 grand. I'll take 5 of it and go play craps. I'll take 5 of it and go put it back in the slot machine. And then I'm going to win another 10, and maybe I could walk away with 20. The only way to beat the house, not to go Ocean's 13 on everybody, Ocean's 11, excuse me.
Well, you know I love them all.
I know you do. Go all in, right? Bet big. And if you win, walk away. That's it. And look, I enjoy throwing some cards from time to time. I don't really, a couple $100 here or there. You got to set your limits. You got to be careful. It's fun to play cards with your friends. Mm-hmm. But if you believe that is a legitimate pathway to building wealth, then you have been sold an absolute lie.
Well, what's the game changer here is the fact that you can just grab it on your phone.
Exactly.
And open it up and place any sort of number of, straightforward bets, prop bets, as we've talked about. Like, it is so insane. Once upon a time, you had to get in the damn car and drive to Vegas or fly to Vegas or go to Dover. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Party bus. Mm-hmm. Now it's like you can do it from the comfort of your couch if you're walking down the street. Like, it is an addict's paradise.
It is.
And it is so unfortunate because, we talk about what the Black Mirror does to us. It's not social media, it's gambling, it's all the things. But that's the game changer here. That's the true game changer.
You just have to wonder, and look, I know the answer to all this is but capitalism. Mm-hmm. You just have to wonder if anything at all could wake, decision makers up to realize what a slippery slope this is. I'd have to look up the recent information of what I'm about to unpack, but Real Sports, Bryant Gumbel, HBO, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Maybe 7 or 8 years ago, they did an entire story on the effect of gambling in the UK on soccer, on EPL. And if my memory serves correctly, they ended up doing away with the dynamic that they were discussing, because what they realized is all these people are losing their homes.
Yeah.
Like, not losing a couple $100.
Yeah.
Right. You're not getting paid and saying, okay, I'm going to throw $200 on a Chelsea match. You're taking out second mortgages to throw $50,000 on a soccer match. You're losing it. You're losing your house. You're losing your families. Not to be hyperbolic about the whole thing, but in other parts of the world, they have experimented with this, and it never, ever goes well.
Well, and this, going back to the game changer thing, it's like you're talking about young people whose minds aren't fully developed yet. And you're talking about people who have an obvious obsession with competition,
right?
Because that's what they do. They're, basically professional athletes now. So you're giving them basically another opportunity to compete against the house, against themselves, and it's money that they've never seen before. So it's like, yeah, man, like once upon a time, it would be a big deal if a pro NBA player went to Vegas and blew a bunch of money. But now the fact you can do this from your phone, the comfort of your own house,
right?
It's spooky.
It is. And before we catch a break, you do read pieces or listen to interviews with sharks who gamble for a living. And I'll draw a little parallel here. Did you ever hear the Roger Federer commencement speech where he was like, I'm paraphrasing, but over the course of Roger Federer's tennis career, if you go back and tally all the points he won and lost, he won like 51.5% of the points and lost like 40.
Wow.
Like it's
the margins
are that thin for the player that many believe is the greatest to ever do it. And when you listen to sharks who gamble for a living, they grind all day. Okay, they're looking at a bunch of different things, trying to find. It's like a full-time job, and they win about 52% of their bets over time. Nobody is winning 60 to 70% of their bets. Even professional gamblers, in order to make money, they win about 52% of the bets. And if you can do that and you stay in the game, you'll make money over time. But people have just been sold a bill of goods.
The ironic part of this whole thing was this week's This American Life is entitled Blackjack.
Oh, okay.
And they basically, Ira and one of his producers go and meet up with the dude who was at the head of the MIT card counting group that won like $10 million back in the day.
Yeah.
And basically learn to do it and then go to an unnamed casino and try to do it.
Right.
Blackjack is one thing, but it's this obsession. And Ira talked about it. It's like once you have this modus operandi, like we're going to go put it to use and see what can happen. And then if you win, you're like, how much more can I win?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and DraftKings has also been accused of kicking winning bettors off their platform.
Oh, I didn't know
Like
this.
if they see a trend where you've cracked a code, whatever it is, you figured it out, you've got a algorithm, you build a bot, whatever. I don't know enough about how you do it, but they track people who win over time, and they don't give them access to their platform.
Betting on Tottenham to lose.
Well, that's a good bet. I always remember when you dropped the Vegas vacation bid, like, guess the number?
4-7.
Wrong. That's how insane it is, man.
Rock, paper, scissors, too.
All right, CK, that's right, live in studio. Coming up next, RSL has dropped a couple matches, but Lionel Messi was in town. We didn't talk to Chris about that. We're going to move over to Zach Harper, NBA Daily Assist style. We also have Nick Olacek to talk some Mammoth, and Dave Fox in studio. Busy Tuesday show. Keep it here on ESPN 700. Chris Comradi is live in studio. Do you prefer college football savant or expert?
Insider.
Insider. Insiders only. Grinder of tape, knower of ball. Are you more obsessed with tape on offensive linemen or special teams?
You know the answer.
Special teams.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's easy to watch tape on quarterback. It's easy to watch tape on, like, a defensive scheme. Ball knowers are all
Special
about
teams aces.
That's
who's gonna beat the double team off the line to get down.
That's what I'm saying.
Who's gonna be a punt return kicking savant, a la Britton Covey?
Yep. Ball knowers are all in on O-line and special teams.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Agreed.
Over under Utah football 8.5 wins.
Ooh, is there? Can you say even?
You
Is that
cannot
an answer.
You cannot because you cannot win 8.5 games.
Oh, you're right. I'll go under.
Under.
Hater.
Eight wins, successful year for Morgan.
If they had at least a couple guys returning on that offensive line, I'd go over.
Yeah.
Really quick, but
You want to dig into the college basketball transfer portal? My guess is you haven't been keeping up entirely.
Well, I know the Utes making hay.
That's what I'm saying.
Weber State dude.
Yep.
Averaged like 6 points.
Championship. I do feel bad for my guy Al. We had him on the podcast. One of the things that stood out was the portion of the conversation where he said, where it really hit me, because Al's been away for a long time. He's been in the pros for a long time. He really hasn't been part of the Utah basketball scene in a long time. And I'm sure he kept track, and I'm sure he has kept relationships up there. But when he said, we had the number one team in America, Arizona was in town, and I walked out on the floor, and the building wasn't even half full. And he said, that pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because he acknowledges where they're at. And I think everyone thought it would be better last year. But if you can't get people in the building for the number one team in the country, the only crowd last year that was decent was BYU. And 30 to 40% of that building was blue. So you'd love to get something like that every single game. But if you can't get fans in the building to watch the best team in college basketball, I don't know what you do.
Well, if we're going to dig into the portal, it seems like they're kind of doing something similar as they did last year. Undersized guards in the backcourt.
More or less a reset,
Going with an international flavored approach to building the program.
Yeah.
If you want to believe what some folks are selling to you, great. But especially international players, you never know. But again, look at some of the best teams in college basketball last year were very international heavy. Illinois and Arizona. I mean, they Illinois kind of rewrote the book on how to build a team because they got all those guys from the Balkan countries.
It is a way to roster construct if you don't have cookie bro, oil bro money.
Well, and again, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but if you're recruiting 6 foot to 6'2" guards in the backcourt, they better be like Dame Lillard type guys. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, what are you doing in modern basketball?
Yeah. Yeah, you can probably get away with having one of those guys. You don't want your starting backcourt to go 6 foot 6'2". Yeah. The game has changed to the point where even you look at most of the point guard prospects, they're 6'4" to 6'7". Yeah. They're big, long kids that can dribble, pass, and shoot and guard multiple positions. And look, Don McHenry and Terrence Brown were fine individual offensive players last year, but they're redundant. They're kind of the same guys. And stunned that Keanu Dawes landed at Kansas and kind of stunned Terrence Brown landed at Carolina. We'll see if they get minutes there. But ultimately, I really hope that Alex can find a way to roster construct because I want this to work for him. And I will admit that I missed the days of Utah basketball being consistently relevant. The fact that we can say that it's been a decade without an NCAA tournament appearance.
It'll be more than a decade now.
11 years. And that is so wild to consider for those of us that remember what it was like when they were making it every year and going to Final Fours.
And I guess there was one year where they made that NIT run. So and I'm not trying to, shine a turd here, but that's it, man. It's not like we're talking about teams that were really close either. That's the problem.
If Utah basketball makes the NIT next year, is that progress? At least, yeah. I mean, that's not nothing, right?
Big 12?
I just can't believe that that's the standard now.
things change, man.
They
Once
do.
upon a time, Utah football going to a bowl game was revelatory.
Yep.
And now,
Yeah, you're not wrong. So it's been a long time since we've had meaningful games in the spring in Salt Lake. And the Jazz are going to be better next year. I don't know how good they're going to be. You hear folks that cut a paycheck from Smith Entertainment Group talk about home court advantage and top four, and it's like, don't do that. Just that's silly. It's stupid.
well, one of our friends of the program said, I believe on another radio station, that if the Jazz land AJ DeBonsa, they're going to win a championship in 3 years.
Yeah, he's kind of
That's
an
our guy.
ex friend of the program. And look,
That's my guy.
AJ is awesome, and adding AJ to this core. Would I say a championship in 3 years? No. Would I say an upper echelon Western Conference team? I would say that.
Sure.
But if you watch the Spurs play at all, if you watch Oklahoma City play at all, you need both those two teams to be forced into making complicated financial decisions to get rid of a couple of the players on their roster. Look, Oklahoma City has a lottery pick this year. It's the Clippers. It's a very slim chance that thing turns into anything. They could draft Darren Peterson, and he might play on their G League team. There's no room for him to play on that roster. I'm dead serious.
We were talking about mocks earlier. I saw a mock today.
Yeah? What do we got?
Jazz at 4,
Okay.
drafting North Carolina.
Caleb Wilson.
Yeah.
Now, I will remind everybody before we launch into May 10th and get pissed if the Jazz aren't number one because the NBA hates Utah, you can look at Tankathon right now. The most likely landing spot for the Jazz is either 6 or 7. Those are what the 6, 7. Those are what the percentages say as far as the most likely landing spot. They grab a top 4 pick. I think this is a draft that has 4 players that really could play rotationally for the Jazz right away. But if they land outside of the top 4, we have to prepare ourselves for maybe just more incremental step-by-step growth.
Well, and it seems like even those players are better than players that were in the Jazz wheelhouse the last couple drafts.
Yeah.
Like if they land on the kid from Houston,
Kingston Flemings.
He's not going to be an overnight sensation, but
Right.
his ceiling is probably higher than that of Isaiah
Yep,
Collier.
I would agree
or
with
even
that.
Keontae George.
Yeah. Look, the Keontae stuff was real offensively. The worst defensive player in pro basketball, according to the defensive metrics that we have, and some of those are very cloudy.
Yeah.
Didn't help that there's not a lot of great defensive players on the team. Jaren Jackson Jr. will help with that. But the reason I bring it up is this hockey thing has been cool.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so long since spring is here, and with this sports calendar, rhythm,
Yeah.
spring is when the important games are played in both pro basketball and pro hockey. So I've been kind of taken back at how many people that weren't hockey fans seem to be really all in on this little Mammoth run.
You went.
I did.
Did you wave a towel?
I did.
There you go.
Big Dave, Connor,
End of the program.
3 generations of Checketts at the hockey game.
Should the Rangers feel betrayed? Should Mark Messier feel betrayed?
Good question. The answer is probably yes. We did have a Ranger fan come up and say hi to my father, which was pretty cool. Yeah.
I watched some of the game last night and seemed like a fun game, but
Not your thing. You're never going to be Tusks up?
no,
Okay.
I can't find the puck. Can't see the puck on
It's
TV.
it's hard
Can't
to
see the
watch
puck.
hockey on TV.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I love Olympic hockey, but
Yeah.
NHL, great. Give me a game 7.
Yeah.
I'll tune in. Chop some parsley, some
Okay.
cilantro, kind of look up, make sure I don't cut my finger off. But am I going to be glued to the tube for the hockeys? I will not.
What is what's the culinary situation these days, the Camerani household?
Well, we're making chicken burritos tonight.
Lovely.
Yeah, I made some homemade pico before I came down here.
Homemade pico.
Got to work ahead as a parent and partner.
What's the tortilla preference?
We have the ones that you got to cook on the stove. Got the bulk pack from Costco.
Okay.
So it's got to do your work a little bit.
Little hack for you.
Pack.
Non-stick pan, little butter.
Okay.
Butter both sides. Okay. Excellent tortillas. You're gonna love it.
I was never a butter guy, but I moved here to Utah.
Yeah.
You know what Utahns love?
Butter.
Butter.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, everything's butter.
Yeah.
Put butter in mac and cheese.
Absolutely.
And I said, what?
Look, I use a copious amount of butter, okay? I make excellent breakfast tacos. Tortillas, a little butter, both sides. Oh, man, I'm telling you, I'm going to make you a breakfast taco at some
Amen.
point. All right, I have not spoken to you since the GOAT graced our market, Lionel Messi, in town last week.
You also went.
Of course.
Did you swing a scarf?
I did not. I did wear one, and I brought one home. I have one for you if you'd like one.
I'm okay, thank you.
You do not want an Inter Miami RSL scarf.
Okay, thank you.
I figured you
But
would.
you're always thinking about me.
Of course. I figured you would appreciate the historic event that took place last
I have
week.
so much junk in my house that I'm trying to get rid of that adding a scarf to the junk pile would probably not go over well.
Do you own a scarf that you like?
No.
Do you own anything from any game?
So like maybe 10 years ago I was wearing a scarf in the wintertime. That was because I was friends with Bill Oram.
I was going to say, like, as a fashion statement?
Well, I mean, standing on the sidelines covering high school football, freezing my tush off.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Bill,
No longer. I've graduated out of that. I realized that it doesn't matter. All that much.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you get married, you're allowed to look like a slob a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not good at that, so I can't really comment on it.
All right.
Bill Oram, does Bill Oram like himself a scarf?
Yeah.
Okay.
He likes himself a Kangol too.
Seriously.
I believe so, yeah.
Bill strikes me as a guy that would take some fashion risks. Like I could see,
to say the least.
I could see Bill showing up to a dinner with a fedora on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you and Falk and all the bros were at dinner, and Bill rolled in with a fedora on, would anyone have the guts to say, "What the hell are you doing?"
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And then I would ask him if I could wear it.
You would try it.
Yeah.
You might be able to pull a fedora off.
A little bit.
So anyway, the Messi thing didn't move the needle for you at all.
I mean, I watched it. It happened during bedtime, so I missed most of first half. But I did see, like, that game's different if Sergi Solans buries that early chance where he's a sliver offside. Other than that, like, sounds super cliche, man, but you had a couple world-class players do some world-class stuff. Like the DePaul hit, next level. The Suarez goal, I mean, like, the dude's like 40. He's off balance with a one-time left foot. Like, no offense to Big Vic or some of the other, subs that RSL has, but that's the difference.
Is that the new nickname, Big Vic?
Big Vic.
Okay, I like it.
I mean, it works.
In real time, I didn't realize what Suarez had done. And then I saw the replay. I'm like, I can't. You give me 30 chances on an open goal to do that? No chance.
Less preferred left foot,
yes,
as Brian Dunseth would say.
Indeed. That was mind-blowing to me. I'll tell you what. I mean, I don't exactly know what it is about Messi.
Place looked like it was filled to the brim before kickoff, which never, ever happens.
It doesn't happen anywhere in this state. Like, if the question has always been, we've always had late arriving crowds. The joke is LDS standard time, like 20 to 30 minutes late. We left early because we were going to this pregame thing that my father was speaking at. We left an hour early and still barely made it for the actual pregame. The traffic was nuts.
Yeah.
And the building was jam-packed to watch warm-ups. That never happens. I can't exactly pinpoint what it is about Lionel Messi that makes people just lose. There were people losing their minds at this game.
Well, what's cool about America First Field is it's such an intimate setting. Like, that has to be one of the smaller stadiums that Messi will have ever played in his career. So, like, even there are no nosebleeds, but if we're saying the nosebleeds on the east side, like, you can still have a very clear picture of Messi.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you're in the nosebleeds at a big stadium here in the States or abroad, like, you got to get those binocs out, man.
Yeah.
But, like, you can see Messi's leg tats still. Like, it's cool. And, RSL's on a little bit of a skid. They got to bounce back. 2 straight L's now. Are you worried?
I'm never worried.
No?
No. We had Trey on the show yesterday. The vibes are high.
Are good?
Yeah, the vibes are good.
Our guy.
But I mean, ultimately, in this league, we've had some of the best RSL teams off to a horrible start, and some of the worst RSL teams actually look good early. Mm-hmm. The World Cup break is going to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into everything. They still have the ability. They kept a DP spot for the summer transfer window. When we last spoke, there was potential for this maybe being as good of an RSL team as we've seen, maybe with the depth. Are you still kind of in that space?
We'll see. hit the skids a little bit. Let's see how they bounce back against Portland, who's a very bad road team this weekend. I think they looked worse against LA than they did against Miami. I mean, they had chances against Miami, and granted, they looked a little bit better in the second half against LA, but it's still a young team, and they're still getting to know each other. But one thing RSL does not have going for it is the West is insane this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, you have a team that was one of the worst in the league last year in San Jose, which I don't think they've lost a game yet. I think they've won like 8 games and tied 1. So anytime that happens, everyone else, rising tides lift all boats. San Jose is unbeaten. The LA teams, Seattle, RSL. It's going to be a dogfight. But like you said, how's this summer going to affect how they look down the stretch? Is Xavier Gozo going to be on this team? I mean, he publicly said, for the first time to my knowledge, that he wants to go to Europe this summer. He said on an interview with MLS last week. So is RSL going to be willing to go to the negotiating table? Because, like, as we talked about, this is where agents have a lot of power, where they can plant a lot of seeds publicly.
What's the Gomez number was 12 million?
That was 14.
14 million.
Yeah.
What's the Gozo number?
It's got to be 20.
20.
Yeah.
So anything north of 20, RSL probably has to.
Yeah. But anything south, I think he's under contract till 2028 or 29.
See, the thing that just check that out. Look at that.
Hey. There are no hot
Hey.
takes. There are no boring fillers.
No.
There's no carrying water.
Somebody's seen the Reality Check podcast spot, I guess, on KUTV.
Oh, look at dude.
The AI
the
stuff.
AI stuff really works for me.
The AI thing, it was it's unfortunate that exists, because now all my friends, like, that's my picture when I call
We should
them.
make that a T-shirt.
I figured it's inevitable. It's about time that I land on one of the T-shirts you guys make for each other.
Made a shirt, but yeah, we might have to really bully you.
Who are on shirts? So for our listeners that don't understand the context, is it just you and Aaron?
Well, I mean, there was a time during the heyday of the Tribune Sports era, myself, Aaron, Bill Orm, Kyle Goon, Tony Jones, we would get into some mischief and, put funny pictures on shirts.
So what shirts exist?
Well,
The Falk one is the best one.
with Mikulich.
Yes.
That one is my best screenshot / transition to shirt. There's a great one of Goon, the original one of Goon doing a post-game University of Utah video analysis up at Rice Eccles when he was on the beat like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Bill's on a shirt. Tony's on a shirt. I did a face swap of Tony and Kyle when they were on the Jazz beat together.
Aaron has that shirt.
Very funny.
Yeah.
I have it as a sweater.
Do you really?
It's very good.
I showed up to play golf with Aaron one day, and he was on the driving range wearing it. I was so confused. I'm like, what the hell is that, dude?
It's art, Spence.
It is art. Who is on the Salt Lake Tribune Sports Mount Rushmore?
Oof.
You got 4 names.
All time?
All time.
Or my era?
All time.
Well, this is hard because you have lots of guys who. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go AF. He's my guy.
Yep.
Ross Seiler's gonna be on that.
'Kay.
Because I think what
Ex-Jazz beat writer.
what Ross did, I don't know if you remember this, but Ross was kind of one of the first guys to blog.
Okay.
And like he would write his game story, but then he would unload all this really cool behind the scenes stuff in like a blog in addition after every game. So this dude's writing 750 words on deadline and then posting these like 1,000-word blogs 82 times. Or, I'm sure he took it to a couple games off.
Yeah.
And it was so good. It was. He also had the luxury of covering Jerry, interesting guy, covering good teams with Darren and Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
And he really kind of was a force for us youngs in terms of like, oh, you can do this job differently.
Okay.
So I think Ross, and he's a lot smarter than us because he went to law school.
Yes, he
was
did.
Like, this is not smart to do this long term, unlike me. JB, Joe Baird.
Okay.
And then the fourth, like,
it's not Monson?
oh yeah, probably Monson.
Yeah.
I think it's like the old school guys would be like Lex Hemphill, like some of the old
Wow.
like jazz like beat writers that I didn't grow up reading.
Yeah.
But like some people would argue like Loomer, Steve Loom.
Steve Loom? Yeah.
It's Gab. If we're talking about like clout, it's probably Gordo.
Yeah. Who was the
MCL, I mean, it's hard for
yeah,
me,
it's tough, man.
It's hard.
I feel like MCL's got a case. Who was, I hate to put anyone on blast. There was this pretentious, like, dude that thought he was smarter than everybody else. And I remember Bill and I met with him to potentially have him on the show. And he talked to, I remember him like this. He talked about how much he wanted to be paid. And he said, you don't understand, I've won a crap load of awards. I'll never forget this with his hand. He said, like, I've won a crap load. I think he went to Houston.
I know who you're talking about.
Does it start with a B?
It does.
Oh, right. That's it. That's what I thought. All right, man. You want to tease anything? What do you got coming up? Anything?
I got nothing good, man.
You got nothing good.
I'm here to party.
You're here to party.
That's it.
Good to see you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Chris Comrade from The Athletic, brought to you today by our friends at Wasatch Medical Spa. Now, listen up. This is some good stuff. I want to give a big shout out to Shelly, the owner of Wasatch Medical Spa. It's a beautiful spot. It's in Mill Creek, okay? It's really close. Wherever you're listening right now, centrally located, Wasatch Medical Spa. It's a brand new technology called Apex RF, okay? So the stats say about 60% of men, once you get over 40, you start suffering from some sort of form of erectile dysfunction. And it doesn't just need to be entirely erectile dysfunction. It's different in, just sensation. A bunch of different things start to happen to you as you age because father time comes for us all. Obviously, that can affect your relationship. If you're in that spot where the intimacy just isn't what it used to be, Shelly gave me the opportunity to go through their treatments. There's 6 of them. Without getting into too many details, because this is a family-friendly show, I can tell you, because I went through this, you will be very happy with the progress. You'll be very happy with the outcomes. And most importantly, your partner will be very happy with everything that transpires as a result of going through these Apex RF treatments, okay? I can just tell you they work because she was good enough to let me go through them. And I would encourage you to take this deal because as a result of Wasatch Medical Spa being a client on this show, they're giving you an easy 30-minute free consultation with no obligation. So you might as well go check it out. Now, here's the kicker, though. They're giving you 50% off your first treatment. You're saving hundreds and hundreds of dollars with our friends at Wasatch Medical Spa. It's a very comfortable process. It is not anything that you need to worry about. Very nice people. She's got a staff of about 8 women who are very, very kind. And all of their partners have gone through this treatment as well. That was kind of part of the testing phase. And everybody has come back with very glowing results and feedback. It's Apex RF treatment. So book online at wasatchmedicalspa.com. That's wasatchmedicalspa.com. Make sure to tell them that you heard me talking about it on this show. Free consultation, no obligation, 50% off your first treatment. It's our friends at Wasatch Medical Spa. Zach Harper rolls by next, right here on ESPN 700. All right, the Denver Nuggets made a statement last night, question mark. They're still alive. NBA playoffs going on. We will find out where the Jazz draft on May the 10th on Mother's Day. Zach Harper, NBA Daily Assist style, Tuesday afternoon. Hello, Zach. How are you, young man?
I'm excellent. How are you doing?
What brings you joy?
What brings me joy? I mean, basketball brings me joy. Comedy brings me joy. Good sandwich, you know?
Okay. What about something like deeply embedded in you? Something that cannot be watched, paid for, something that just is?
Oh, you know what? It'll sound kind of corny, but just like seeing a dog that's happy.
Okay.
That does it for me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You seem to have a happy dog.
I mean, he's got a grumpy face, but he is happy.
What kind of animal is that?
It's a French bulldog.
French bulldog. If you're curious, follow Zach on Instagram because he's a consistent star on your IG, is he not?
Yeah, people want to see him way more than they want to see me.
What's your preferred social media platform of choice these days?
I mean, it might be TikTok because that's where I interact the least. I'm just lurking and watching videos, a lot of like outer space videos at this point.
Okay.
Yeah,
not
like alien stuff. I'm talking about like the science of outer space, like black holes and stuff like that.
Got it. I'm a recent convert to TikTok myself. It's addicting, man. I got to put a time limit on my profile.
Oh yeah. No, it's like I will check in twice a day at the most, and I know that. All right, don't keep scrolling. You gotta get in and get out.
What is it with these algorithms? How do they know? It's a pretty terrifying thing.
Yeah, because they do a pretty good job of guessing for the most part. I had a friend who he did an experiment with TikTok where he didn't like anything. He didn't follow anything. He just wanted to see what the algorithm would do. And like every 10 videos, he said it would just be like, "How about this scantily clad woman? Maybe that'll do something for you. Maybe that'll get some interaction." And he just refused to. And it was fascinating.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Are we smart enough to invent?
No.
We're not.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
All right. I just feel like we're in this area in society where nothing's regulated, so we should probably capitalize just to try to make money before grown-ups are back in charge of things.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be the best? Like we should really get into grifting.
Yes.
I feel like you're born as a grifter. You don't become a grifter.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I follow too high of a moral code to be a liar and a grifter to steal money from people. I'm too good of a person, Zach.
I think I'm just too lazy for it.
Oh, okay.
I think I could bring myself to do it. I think I'm just too lazy.
So I think I could be a guru. I 100% believe I could be a guru.
Yeah. You could absolutely be a guru.
Yeah. You read one Eckhart Tolle book and you start an Instagram account and you just
That's all you need. Honestly, these days you watch one like Andrew Tate video, you could do it for a certain class of people.
I knew a guy who lived here who went to yoga, worked at both Walmart and drove an Uber, and he just moved to Massachusetts on a farm. And he's releasing videos calling himself a life coach. It is unbelievable. I know this person. He is very much not a life coach. His whole grift is, are you a man in your 40s and 50s that feels tired and sad? Well, book a session with me.
Yeah, that's everyone.
Right. I'm like, dude, you checked me out at Walmart once. You're not solving any problems. And I'm not disrespecting anybody who works at Walmart. Let me be very clear.
No, but that's not like I feel like you should have to have some kind of certification for being a life coach, right? Like I don't know. I guess I don't know what that entails. I do know, like I dated someone years ago, and her best friend was like beholden to this life coach she had, and like every time she would talk about him, you kind of had to just like nod along in there. But the whole time I'm thinking, why would you ever listen to this person?
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what people buy into. And I think the worst, I don't know, in my opinion, because you referenced the Andrew Tate stuff, the worst people on the internet are older men taking advantage of young men going through life. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah, I do think that's like one of the things lost in just the social media era is like just having to figure it out your own way. And not that always worked out for sure, but I do think there's something to like not looking everything up. Like something I really like to do if I'm hanging out with some friends and like we start arguing about something, it's like, hey, no one look this up. If I tell you Ken Griffey Jr. hit 59 home runs with 1 year, let's debate it. Let's not just go look it up and fact check it. Because there is like a lost art to like just figuring stuff out.
For sure. For sure. I mean, that's how we used to make our way through the world. I mean, if I wanted to talk to my girlfriend, I had to call the house and talk to her dad first. You know,
I remember her number.
Right. Those are actual things. Did you ever have a pager?
No, I never had a pager. I had a couple of friends who had pagers. My parents were not going to get me a pager.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I went through a little pager phase. It's wild to think how's the dating game in LA, by the way, these days?
It's good. It's better. Definitely dating someone and it's been a lot more I don't know, just not drama filled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, man. Good for you, because it's such a mess. So like if you have any tips, just send them my way, will you?
Well, don't come here.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. Don't come here. That's not going to fix it.
It's no better here. I'll tell you that much. We can exchange some stories off air if you'd like.
Yeah, I think it's just broken everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, good chatting with you. We'll talk soon. Just kidding.
All right, cool. Yeah.
All right, let's dig into some hoop stuff for people that haven't changed the station, listening to Spence and Zach complain about their dating life. Scale of 1 to 10, how much trouble are the Pistons in?
Oh man. Yeah, like a 10. I mean, it's not that they're down 3-1 to the Magic, although that would be, borderline disastrous in the first place. It's that their best player is not playing well. I mean, Cade Cunningham has 27 turnovers in 4 games. He has 12 turnovers in the first quarters of this series. I mean, he's just starting off right off the bat terribly. And then who knows where Jalen Duren is? I mean, it's gotten to the point where, I'm having conversations with friends, friend who's a Pistons fan, and it's like, he's like, yeah, I think we got to bench Jalen Duren. I'm like, that's crazy. But also, I don't know that I disagree with this. Yeah. He is nowhere to be found. They have zero offense, and Orlando seemed to have found their like defensive identity again after it slipped most of the season to where they were just like kind of league average, and now they look elite again. And Detroit's in big trouble.
What exactly? I mean, look, this is who a lot of people thought Orlando was going to be.
Yeah. And
in fairness, like Franz Wagner's a really good player. I think he missed like 40 games or something, but they look like a different team. I mean, Jamal Mosley may have saved his job. What exactly have they figured out?
Some of it is just the defense. Like Jalen Suggs is flying all over the place, but Wendell Carter Jr. is the reason that Jalen Duren has been taken out of the series. Like, he has been so physical, so good, eliminated every angle that Jalen Duren is trying to find to like get offensive rebounds or get shots around the rim. So Carter has just stepped up his game immensely in a way that I don't know anyone could have anticipated. Like, he's a good player, but he's playing way above, what we've seen for him even at his peak in his career so far. So that's been big. Franz has definitely like played well in stretches. Jamal Cain last night out of nowhere has a monster fourth quarter. So guys are stepping up. They're still turning the ball over, but it is really just defense, because I think this team is like under 39% from the field in this series, and they're up 3-1.
Scale of 1 to 10, how much trouble are the Denver Nuggets in?
Like a 4,
okay,
3. Like I know, obviously things are going to be different in Minneapolis, you think, than they were in Denver last night, but no Ant, no DiVincenzo. I don't think any of it is like referee based, but how physical someone like Jaden McDaniels is going to get to be may determine how effective the Wolves can be in Game 6, because he picked up a couple of quick fouls last night, and that seemed to kind of neutralize what he could do defensively for a while. Denver got in in a big rhythm. Their role players got in a big rhythm. Minnesota made a little bit of a run there in the fourth quarter, but they were never really, Denver's never really in danger of giving up that lead. And so just not having Ant, not having Dante, that's big for just basic creation stuff on offense for them. And then defensively, those are two very good defenders as well. So you're asking a lot out of Ayo Dosunmu. You're asking a lot out of Bones Highland. Bones Highland has played well in this series, and he played well last night, but it was a lot of Bones Highland. And so I think Denver just has to feel like, all right, we just got to get game 6, and we get game 6, then we have game 7 at home. They don't have their best player. We should be able to pull this out.
If I asked you for a pick to win the series, which way would you go?
Denver still worries me with the way they played. Like it took them two full losses, 2 full games to respond to Jaden McDaniels' comments. Basically, I don't love that. Like I was criticizing them last night, and someone was like they're up 20, like they're showing a fight. I'm like, yeah, legally yes, but it took them 2 games. Like Jaden McDaniels talked trash after game 2. Saying none of these guys guards, even the Aaron Gordon doesn't guard, and they were just limp in Minneapolis for 2 losses, and then they get up 20 last night, and that's when they start talking trash. I'm like, this is supposed to be a contender. This is supposed to be a team that worries the rest of the NBA world. Yeah, they may win this series. Before I would have been like, yeah, Denver's gonna beat San Antonio if Denver is relatively healthy. Now the way that they're playing, even if they win this series, I would definitely pick San Antonio over them.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. It's not worth our time to talk OKC Phoenix, but now that we've seen, and look, Wembanyama's back. We'll get to that in a moment. Is OKC legitimately concerned about anyone right now? I know San Antonio played them very well in the regular season, but yeah. Is there anyone they're looking at with the way they look when they're right? I know we'll see about J-Dub, but is OKC losing sleep over anyone right now?
I think they're losing sleep over J-Dub.
Yeah.
I really do. That's a big problem. I do think they should have the advantage, even with the regular season series. If they face San Antonio in the conference finals, they should absolutely have the advantage there, and they should be the pick to win. Just, some matchups, some, experience and everything, that should matter. But if Jalen Williams is not healthy or can't go at all because of this hamstring injury, that's their second best player. That's one of the 20 best players in the league, one of the 15 best players last season. That's a massive person for them to miss. I know they're deep. I know guys step up, but I do think they need Jalen Williams to feel comfortable about getting through the West.
So, wonder what your thoughts are on Wembanyama's comments about the concussion protocol process. And any insight as to what exactly he was referring to? It was somewhat vague.
Yeah, it's somewhat vague. I think once their season is over, regardless of how it ends, I think he'll open up more about it. I don't think he wants it to be a distraction, even though he kind of let it be a distraction. There was something. I'm assuming the San Antonio doctors said, yeah, he's good, and the league reviewed the protocol and said, no, you got to keep him out a game, and he didn't like that. As advanced as Wemby seems, as mature as Wemby seems, players are always going to want to play. And I don't know that he's wrong or right here. I just know when I was 21, 22 years old, if I felt okay, then I was like, yeah, I can do whatever. And I'm assuming he felt the same way. He's not a brain doctor. I have to assume that the experts were right in this case, even if they're not 100% right all the time. And so my guess is it's just frustration with not being cleared.
If Oklahoma City plays San Antonio in the Western Conference Finals and J-Dub is out and San Antonio's fully healthy, who wins that series?
Oh, man. I'm going to give the respect to the reigning champs, and SGA is the best player. I think they know their identity a little bit better than San Antonio does, but everything you would want to design something against OKC is right there with San Antonio, like a monster presence for the interior, very aggressive defenders on the perimeter, very athletic players all around the floor. The one concern I have with San Antonio is they're not a great three-point shooting team, and I think they take some questionable three-point shots. But they push the tempo. They're very good defensively. They're the best in the league defensively when Wemby's on the court. And I think they could dare some guys on OKC. We see guys hit big shots for OKC. Can you dare them to continue to hit big shots? And I think that's what San Antonio is kind of built to do. I would still give OKC a slight edge without Jalen Williams, but that's more just out of history saying, hey, a team can't jump from not being a playoff team to being in the finals.
I want to go back to Denver, Minnesota real quick because, oftentimes there are a lot of people that either just hate Rudy or don't watch him. And then when they actually watch him and realize that he's good at his craft, it brings up this really interesting conversation. And look, I've always kind of pushed back because there's also this what I perceive to be somewhat of a lazy and correct narrative where it's like Rudy really shuts down Jokic. And then you go to Basketball Reference and you look at Jokic's number against Rudy and it's like 28, 15, and 10. It's like, well, he still does the Jokic stuff. What is your take on what Rudy has been able to do to at least affect Jokic here or there?
Yeah, this series has been different, right? Last night aside, this series has been different than what we have seen. Not to take away from what Rudy's doing, because I do think it needs to be respected and be acknowledged, even though I've made plenty of jokes about Rudy over the years, mostly offensively, not so much defensively, but I do think I don't think Jokic is right. I don't think he's been right since he came back from that knee injury. I think he needed more time off. He had to come back to qualify for awards. Yes, I believe he cares about those awards and those acknowledgments, even though we have this weird mythos about him that he doesn't care about anything but his horses. He cares about that stuff. I think that's helped Rudy, defend him better because in the past, even in 2024, the Wolves beat the Nuggets, and Rudy did a good job on Jokic. Jokic still killed. He was great in that series. He wasn't there. Jamal Murray was terrible in that series, and that's primarily why Minnesota was able to win. But a big part of that was, hey, you could trust Jokic for big stretches and not have to double, and then you can kind of play better defense. I think that's the thing that goes kind of under talked about. It's not like, oh, he can shut Jokic down. No one can shut Jokic down. What he can do is he can just make it a little more difficult than anyone else, and the team trusts that, hey, Rudy may get scored on, but he's going to make them work. We can guard everywhere else, and we're going to rebound as a team and all this stuff. And so in that, Jokic is, or I should say Gobert is super unique. I don't know another player in the league you can trust to do that, and it's not a bad strategy. So, Rudy, I think he's both underrated defensively and over-acclaimed defensively in terms of awards in NBA history. But it's kind of a tired conversation at this point, right? Of just you're he sucks. He doesn't suck. You may not want to play the style of basketball you have to play with him, right? I understand that from a stylistic standpoint, but he does his job.
Yeah, look, screen assist, dog.
Yeah, when you have to go to screen assist to say he's a good offensive player, he's not a good offensive player. His teammates are frustrated constantly with just him missing basic catches or him just making these wild passes out of nowhere that should never be made. But the defense is so good, and he is a good screener. You live with that, and he can go get an alley-oop every once in a while. He can get a dunk every once in a while. That's all you need him to do. You don't need him to be Akeem Olajuwon.
The screen assist era in Salt Lake City media is haunting to me.
It's one of the worst things ever, and the Kings did it a little bit with Sabonis, so it wasn't just Utah. If that makes things feel better,
it doesn't. Hawks, no, it doesn't at all. Hawks Knicks tonight. Look, watching New York all year long, it's just there's a stretch where you really like them, and then a stretch where you're like, what are we doing here? Atlanta was a lot better to close out the regular season. This thing is deadlocked at 2 tonight at MSG. How do you see it playing out?
I think the Knicks will win. I think they figured some things out. They remembered in Game 4 hey, by the way, we're just like way bigger than these guys. And that will matter, as they can't get rebounds or they can't stop us from scoring inside. They don't really play like Onyeka Okongwu is a nice big. He's a power forward. Like he's not a center. And against Mitchell Robinson or Karl Anthony Towns, you do need a big man, and he's just not quite big enough. But if they can push any of that pick and roll action or any of that perimeter action out to the side or back with their defenders, New York doesn't have a ton of great options of how to counteract that. So if you can push back that initial attack, like you can thwart a lot of what Mike Brown's offense wants to do with this team. It's just like, are they going to be able to answer on the other end? Like if they can't get stops and get out in transition, the Hawks are in trouble. If they can't knock down threes, which like two of their players have knocked down threes in the series and everyone else is shooting horribly, they're not going to be able to keep up with New York. So I think New York will win, but I don't feel super confident in that.
Cavs Raptors is weird. It's a weird series, man.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's tough.
If we still had an NBA TV series, that would be like noon weekdays on NBA TV.
Yes, exactly. It's a tough watch. I feel like Cleveland should beat them. But look, like what the narrative about, hey, we went and got Harden for the playoffs. I'm like, what did you like?
That was, oh my God. So that was the thing where like, obviously these soulless aggregation accounts are like, ooh, scary hours. I'm like, for who?
Yeah.
For the Cavs? Like, again, like I did this with Philadelphia when they signed Paul George, right? Yeah, it's a good signing, but I never looked at a playoff team who struggles to perform in the playoffs and think, fix that, Paul George.
Right.
I watched Joe Ingles lock him up in two different playoff series.
Oh, that's
that never occurred to me. And then with James Harden, they're like, hey, that's going to be – I'm like, until an elimination game and he doesn't show up.
Right, and they're not even – I mean, look, I think they win the series, but he's already gone full Harden, 15 turnovers in the last two games. Like, the Cavs should win this series, but I don't even know what to make of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to be the home team wins every single game in the series. It goes 7. Cavs can say, like, hey, we got tested and we won. And then I guess Orlando can beat them. That's the weird part of the bracket. I mean, who knows at that point?
We'll end on Rockets-Lakers. Actually, I got one quick Jazz thing because we are in Salt Lake, but we'll end on Rockets-Lakers. And look, I want to give the Lakers the bulk of the credit here, but Houston, man, the one game Durant played was one of the dumbest games I've ever seen from any team ever. I mean, those turnovers were so stupid. So maybe Durant comes back. That's a weird situation, but more credit to the Lakers or more like what the hell is going on in Houston?
I think you have to credit the Lakers because we gave them no chance, or at least I gave them no chance, and they have devised a game plan that like is pretty good and pretty smart, and they're adhering to it, right? So you do have to give them credit for that. But to me, this is the majority of this is the Rockets don't like each other. Ime Udoka, I've asked several scouts, hey, what are they running? And they've responded with, I don't think they're running anything.
Yeah.
If he's not coaching to get fired, I don't know what he's doing. That's the only explanation I have. And yeah, they're just a mess. They're a mess logistically, personality-wise, all that stuff. And so, I think if you're Raphael Stone and you're trying to figure things out, I think you could convince the players, if you don't feel like you have any flexibility this summer, hey, this is an Ime problem. We're going to go get a good head coach. We're going to, come back with Fred VanVleet and Steven Adams healthy next year and watch what we do. Maybe you can convince that team, but man, I think it unravels by January.
I would agree with that. Before I set you loose, I like to operate in reality. So the lottery is coming up, and the most likely spot for the Jazz at 4 is 6. It's 27% 6, 17% 7, and then 11% 1 through 4, and slight chance that it's 8. But if the Jazz end up where they're most likely to end up at 6. What, and for our listeners, Zach does a lot of draft stuff. Give me a few names at 6 that you think Jazz fans should start to get familiar with.
I mean, I don't think he's going to go higher than 6th. I don't think he's in the top 5, or I don't think he'll go in the top 5. He's in my top 5. Darius Acuff Jr. out of Arkansas. Like, that kid to me is a killer. He's going to be a phenomenal guard in the NBA. And I know they have Keontae George, but like I would go Acuff. I think he's the best player available. maybe you feel better about Mikael Brown. Maybe you feel like, hey, we need an older prospect at this point, and you reach a little bit on Lindeborg from Michigan. But to me, Acuff's the guy. If he's gone and Keaton Wagler's there, like that's a tall guard who I think could turn into something nice. But yeah, it's Acuff or bust for me at 6.
All right, dude. Appreciate the time. Good stuff. Have a good rest of the week. We'll chat soon, Zach.
Anytime. Thanks, buddy.
All right, Zach Harper from The Athletic at Talk Hoops is where you find him. Busy boy, bunch of podcasts, bunch of writing. And then you can hear him on SiriusXM as well. All right, ESPN 700 Festival of Tees, powered by the Utah Golf Association. Giving away rounds of golf from the best courses in the state. Listen to the Sean O'Connell Show from 11 to 2. Listen to this show from 2 to 6. For your chance to win each day from ESPN 700, details on ESPN700sports.com. Text to win right now. 877-353-0700. Sending to Stonebridge today. Lovely little track. Text in which player you would like to see the Jazz draft if they land at 6. Okay, if it's 1, we know the deal. It's AJ. 877-353-0700. We'll send one lucky listener to play a little golf at Stonebridge, the ESPN 700 Festival of Tees. All right, 2 hours down, 2 hours to go. We switch gears and talk some hockey with our buddy Nick Olachek from the Mammoth broadcast team, and then Dave Fox live in studio. We'll get to the 5 o'clock hour. We'll say goodnight at 6 right here on ESPN 700.
Auto pay plus taxes and give us.
Guess the number?
4-7.
Wrong. That's how insane it is, man.
Rock, paper, scissors, too.
All right, CK, that's right, live in studio. Coming up.
Modus operandi, like we're going to go put it to use and see what can happen. And then if you win, you're like, how much more can I win?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and DraftKings has also been accused of kicking winning bettors off their platform. That's that's how insane it is, man.
Rock, paper, scissors, too.
All right, CK, that's right, live in studio. All right, the Denver 700 Festival of Teas, powered by
A cup.
Week. We'll check.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, Zach Harper from The Athletic at Talk Hoops is where you find him. Busy boy, bunch of podcasts, bunch of writing, and then you can hear him on Sirius XM as well. All right, ESPN 700 Festival of Teas, powered. All righty, we are back. It is episode 5 of A Reality Check with Spence Checketts, the new podcast here with our friends at KUTV. We are on KMYU, KJazz TV, and ESPN 700 Radio. So good to have you with us and welcoming in a special guest as we all have Mammoth fever, Hockey Town, USA, from the Mammoth broadcast team, my buddy Nick Olchek on the Reality Check podcast. What's up, Nick? How are you, man?
It's great to be here, man. And it's funny. The show called Reality Check. We have a segment in our show on Hockey Night in Utah called Reality Check as a play on my last name.
There you go.
It's nice to have that in common.
So we got an Olachek and a Checketts.
That's right.
So it works, man.
A lot of checking going on.
Hey, let's start with one of the things I like to do in this space is to have our community kind of get to know some of the figures in our sporting ecosystem. Tell us about your background a little bit. You and I are similar in a lot of ways. We were raised in this stuff. We were raised in pro sports. So what's your hockey origin story? When did you realize you loved the sport and wanted to make a living in it?
Well, it's something that I'm always really excited and passionate to talk about. So I appreciate you, Spence, giving me the floor to be able to do that. I was born with a stick in my hands. That's the best way I can describe it. My dad played 16 years in the National Hockey League for 6 different teams. I was actually born in Los Angeles along the path. He was playing for the LA Kings at that time back in 1996. And so I was born with a stick in my hands, as my mom so often says. And it was just kind of the natural progression of wanting to follow in my dad's footsteps. Both of my brothers played. My sister didn't. My mom said 3 different hockey rinks was enough to go to. So my sister ended up being a dancer. But we, it's been hockey from day one. And I started playing and skating when I was probably about 3.
Okay.
Playing more organized hockey, 4.5, 5 years old. So it was just very much a natural progression in that way. And then played my whole life, moved away from home at age 16 to go and pursue my hockey aspirations, playing in the United States Hockey League out in Iowa. I played a little bit out in Boston. I was a bit of a suitcase in my junior career, so playing in 4 different leagues over the course of 4 years, and then ended up playing a Division I college hockey at Colorado College for the Tigers. And you can go look up my statistics, and then you'll know why I'm sitting in this chair and not on the ice. But all along, Spence, is that I always knew that the broadcasting side is what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And I had people always ask me, because my dad is a broadcaster right now for the Seattle Kraken as well as the NHL on TNT. People always ask me, did you want to get into broadcasting because your dad does it? And honestly, that definitely played a role. But I think back to the days where I was 10 to 13 years old, I'd be playing the NHL video game in my bedroom late at night, and I'd be talking and broadcasting as I played.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was this endless, innate practice that I had. And I didn't know if I liked playing the game or if I like the broadcasting side of it. So, I mean, I've been really doing that, and I still do that from time to time just to stay sharp. And I do it with the NHL video game. I do it with MLB The Show. I would do it with FIFA, just to try to sharpen all edges that I possibly could. So I've really been doing what I'm doing now for 16 plus years.
Okay.
So it's really been a lifelong journey, and there's nothing I love more than being able to break down the game and talk about it and explain what's going on in the most entertaining way possible.
So I think I'm older than you. My NHL game was Sega Genesis, like 94. And I loved that game. I was the Blackhawks because Roenick was unstoppable. What was your NHL game of choice?
Yeah, it would have been NHL 09, 10, and then all the way through. I don't really play NHL specifically anymore. I still do game from time to time. But I would say the games I spent the most time playing were probably from 09 to maybe 15.
Okay.
And it's funny too, because even when I was playing, and in my college days, I would be in and out of the lineup a lot. And so when I was playing, wasn't playing a ton, I'd be out there. I was a fourth line guy, get a couple of shifts per game. But it's the games that I didn't play, I'd be sitting way up in the rafters where all the other guys who were scratched and weren't playing. And I would sit there with the program over my face because I didn't want anybody else to hear what I was saying. And I would broadcast the game.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
For the team that I was on but wasn't playing.
Yeah.
And there were times where I'd spend an extended amount of time on the bench, and I'd be doing play-by-play and color analysis from the bench. And I even once had my coach kind of look down at me, and he kind of gave me a nudge. He's like, what's going on? Are you okay? I said, nothing. I tried to play it off and be cool about it. So honestly, it's just, it has been a lifelong passion of trying to see, take in, understand, and then spew it out in a way that makes sense and is digestible and interesting for all the different hockey fans that may be watching. And that's why, I've loved being part of this Mammoth team and our broadcast team, because we are here to, yes, teach the game to a brand new segment of the fan base. But I have met a ton of people that know the game and are either transplants or grew up watching. And so that's the fine line we try to walk every single night. But I can honestly and comfortably say that there is nothing else I would rather be doing in my life. And I feel so lucky and so blessed to be here and be part of the Mammoth organization.
That's really cool, man. I think, anyone who's able to land in a space to do something they love, they say you don't work a day in your life. And we're both very lucky to play in the toy aisle of life, as I like to say in sports. With Pops playing for a bunch of different teams, did you ever land on a favorite, or are we just cheering for Dad? Yeah,
my childhood, my most formative years were spent in Chicago.
Okay.
So Chicago is my hometown. All my family is based there now. And it's pretty amazing because I look at my childhood and we all wish we could have known that we were in the good times when we were in them, right? And I grew up, and my teenage years were when the Chicago Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups in 6 seasons.
Yeah.
So all I ever knew was parade buses, parties with 1 million plus people downtown Chicago, and the Stanley Cup making appearance pretty much every other year during those years. So that was the team that I lived and died with and cried with and laughed with. And that was the team that I rooted for. And of course, we'll always have a very soft spot for. But in each of the cities that my dad played in, we've got some amazingly fond memories. I mean, my dad was drafted 3rd overall back in 1984 by the Blackhawks, actually. And he's a Chicago native.
Okay.
He's from Palos Heights, Illinois. And he played his was drafted by the Blackhawks. He played his first game with the Blackhawks, his 1,000th game, and his last game. So he's really cool. Kind of been in the broadcasted games there for about 15 years as well. So Chicago has got a very, very special place in our hearts. And so it was L.A. where I was born in 96. He won a Stanley Cup with the New York Rangers in 1994. Stop in Pittsburgh. And actually, if I could, I always have a good time telling this story. So I was born October 4th, 1996. And that was actually the home opener that year for the Los Angeles Kings. They were playing the New York Islanders that night. And it happened to be that day my mom was in labor.
Oh, wow.
With me.
Okay.
So my dad all day is at the hospital, and he lets the team know he's going to be at the game, or the birth is supposed to take place in the late afternoon, early evening, and the game was at 7:30 that night. So thankfully I cooperated, and I was born at about 5:30 Los Angeles time at Cedars-Sinai Hospital. My dad saw the birth, and he quickly sprinted out of the hospital. He gave my mom a big hug. Way to go, fourth kid. Here we go. And he sprinted out of the hospital in his Jimmy Connor shorts and his flip flops, as he likes to say, and he made it there just in time to dress for probably like the last 4 minutes of warm-ups.
Oh, wow.
And short story, even shorter, the Los Angeles Kings beat the New York Islanders that night 1-0. And I'll let you guess who you think scored the
that's
goal.
So cool.
Yeah, and
Pops in honor of his new son. That's awesome.
And he still had the hospital bracelet on. I actually still have the video. It's buried somewhere, but the broadcasters are talking about he scored that for his son who was born today, Nicholas Michael Olchek, and all that. So just a lot of pretty amazing stories. And if I could whenever I tell that story, I got to branch off with another one. My mom, again, pregnant story. Are we noticing a theme here? My dad was playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the mid-'90s. And earlier that day, my dad was at the morning skate with the team, went back to the hospital. My mom was in labor again. This time it was my brother Tommy. And this was a couple of years before. And he let the team know that he was going to be at the game. No matter what, he wasn't going to miss the game. Goes back to the hospital. He's with my mom, and my mom she's in the delivery room now. So on a scale of 10, she's probably at an 8. The doctor's there. He's got the mask on. He's got his catcher's mitt. He's ready to receive my brother Tommy. And the nurse comes in, and my dad's right there beside the bed. And the nurse comes in and taps him on his shoulder, and she says, "Mr. Olchek, the Toronto Maple Leafs would like to talk to you." And he's like, "Well, I already told him." He says, tell him I'll be at the game. I already told him that everything's going to be fine." So the nurse goes out. She comes back in, taps him again. "Mr. Olchek, they really need to talk to you." So my dad does kind of a couple of times double take. He looks at my mom, looks at the nurse, looks back, and he just says, "Okay, I'll be right back." So he goes out, picks up the phone. He says, "Hello," and it's the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He says, "Hey, Eddie, how you doing?" He says, "Good. Diana, my mom, she's about to give birth. I'll be at the game. Don't worry." He says, "Hey, Eddie, we hate to do this to you, but we just traded you to the Winnipeg Jets."
Oh, my gosh. Jeez.
Traded while in labor.
Wow.
So then he goes back into the delivery room, and my mom is sitting there. She's on her back.
Yeah.
Right? Her legs are up. She's ready to deliver a baby. And she goes, "Where in the blank were you?" And my dad, he gets a little nervous from time to time, and he just said, "My aunt is sick."
Okay.
He didn't want to tell her.
I was going to say, you can't lay that news on her.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then my mom, being the brilliant woman she is, she just laid her head back down on the table, on the chair, and she said, "Where are we going?"
Oh, wow.
She knew.
Can't get it by her, huh?
And my dad just said, "At this point, why don't we play a little game?" So yes, he said yes. And my mom said, "Winnipeg."
Right after
psychic and pregnant at the same time. So I think like those two stories really kind of encapsulate our family.
Yeah.
Is that there's been some unbelievable moments, there's been some tough moments, but we've always kind of stuck together.
Yeah.
And I think that's a microcosm of our family, but also the hockey world in general.
Well, and it's interesting because I was raised by a sports executive, not a player, but we moved a bunch because it's a transient existence. And that's why, like in the media space, I always hesitate. I'm not a fire the coach guy. I'm not a fire the GM guy, because when you grow up having to move every couple of years because dad got a new job, you realize that it does take a toll on a family. Now, on the flip side, it's a tremendously exciting way to exist. And It's funny, you referenced something earlier. You didn't realize how good you had it until it's gone. People would ask me all the time, like, do you think the way that you're raised is normal? I'm like, yeah, because it's the only thing I know.
Right.
And then you grow up and you're like, wait a second, that was pretty cool, because you referenced the Rangers. Your dad was on the Stanley Cup team in '94 when my father was at the Garden. And one of the coolest experiences I've ever had was being a teenager, Canyon of Heroes, Lower Manhattan, 1 million people celebrating the first Stanley Cup in like 54 years, I think it was, and seeing people cry, tears of joy that the Rangers had won that thing, which brings us into this conversation about the culture of hockey and how much it means to people and how you feel like it's landed and resonated here in Salt Lake after only 2 short years. And then we'll get to some playoff stuff.
Yeah, I think, look, I'm a hockey lifer. It's given me, it's given my family, so many of my friends, everything that we have.
Yeah.
So everything I have, I owe to the sport that I love so much. And so now, yes, I'm making a living in the game, but I feel like it is my duty now to try to give back. And well, what's my way of giving back? That's trying to sell the game. It's trying to educate and inform about the game. It's to draw as many people in to watch, whether I'm doing game for the Mammoth, whether I'm doing a game on NHL radio, calling play, whatever it is. I want there to be as many hockey fans as possible. And I think that really correlates to hockey culture. To me, hockey culture is about being part of something bigger than yourself. It may seem a little cheesy and sentimental saying that, but I think why do people watch games?
Yeah.
Why are people fans of the Mammoth? Well, because they love hockey. That's one segment of the population. Because they want to be part of something that's bigger than themselves. They want to be part of a community. They want a place to go where everybody's rooting and for the same thing. But also, you know what? Some people just want a distraction in their life. Some people, if things aren't going well, they don't like their job, they're struggling, whatever it is. Okay, how can we sell the game and provide an outlet for those fans to be able to enjoy themselves and crack a smile and have a couple of laughs and walk away saying, I've really thought about it like that, or I didn't know that, or I've watched hockey for 20 years and I learned something for the first time. So in our role, in my role as a broadcaster, we're trying to connect the dots with so many people to an on-ice product that not only they love, but they can be proud of. And in Utah and the Mammoth and Ryan and Ashley Smith continue to do an unbelievable job of putting this team in a place, seeing it as a gift to the community. And it's from them all the way on down the line, the general manager, Bill Armstrong, and president of hockey operations, Chris Armstrong, and Chris Barney, the head of revenue, and my boss, Craig Amazine. And there's so many different people involved to make this ship go in the direction that it needs to go. And so it's an honor to be here, an honor to be involved in the hockey community, because it's truly given me everything that I have in my life.
So it's been phenomenal, quite frankly, that after 2 years, we find this team in the postseason. I think this fan base probably doesn't realize how lucky they are. I think we're going to get spoiled a little bit. A lot of markets go years and years and years without seeing a playoff team. And, you know, it was funny, the introductory press conference when it was announced that the team was here, our guy Spicy Tuna is riling everybody up. And I always crack up a little bit because I don't know if fans realized where the team was at in the process, because when Bill Armstrong got the microphone, he's like, hey, everyone knows we're rebuilding, right? Like, we're still a couple of years away, but a couple of years away. And here we are now. For scheduling purposes, this is on television on Friday night. We are recording this Tuesday afternoon. It will be released on a Wednesday, just so you understand, because we're talking about a series that today is deadlocked at 2, and hopefully by Friday we'll have a different story to tell. But with about 7 or 8 minutes left here, Nick, after 4 games, where do you think the Mammoth has the advantage, and where do you think Vegas is maybe taking a leg up on them after 4?
Well, 2 teams that have unbelievable skilled players. But I think if you look at the overall pace and speed that the Mammoth have, that they play with when they're playing their best, with all due respect, I think they can absolutely outpace and outskate the Vegas Golden Knights, as they proved in the 2 games that they won. That was the big reason why I think that allowed them to generate as much offense as they did, and really not give Vegas a whole heck of a lot either. You know, a lot of people think, oh, you can skate really fast. It doesn't just mean when the puck is on your stick. It's also meaning defensively to be able to close down spaces or have the forwards back check to be able to help out the defenseman. So, you know, the pace of which Utah plays with all season and in this playoff series, I think that's been the real difference maker. The issue that they can run into sometimes is when they try to do a little bit too much, because there's so many skilled players. You got Keller and Schmaltz and Cooley and Gunther, and sometimes maybe they try to do a little bit too much. And sometimes in the playoffs, and by sometimes I mean most of the time, simplicity is best. Keeping the puck moving north, and I think that's been a real key in their game. And for Vegas, look, you've got elite superstars on that team. You've got Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Mitch Marner. You go on down the list. Their defense core is big. They're mean. They're strong. But Utah's got some nastiness too. You mentioned Spicy Tuna, Liam O'Brien. I think he has been unbelievable on that fourth line alongside Brandon Tanev and Kevin Stenlund. I mean, it seems like every shift they're going out there and they're making body contact. And Kevin Stenlund is, in my mind, I think he's the best fourth-line center in the league. And so anytime I can or we can give those guys some love because they don't get enough of it, want to absolutely do that. But in Utah's top six, that's where they're going to win and lose games. Schmaltz, Keller, and Krause, they've come to life as the series has gone on in terms of the execution that they have offensively. And the first two games of the series, how good was that? Cooley, Gunther, and Kyler Yamamoto line. And let's not forget, a couple of years ago, Kyler Yamamoto was playing for the Edmonton Oilers, playing on the same line with Connor McDavid. Yep. He may be a guy that's under 6 foot, a little bit smaller in stature. He's 5'9", but he plays like he's 9'5". He is not afraid to get involved, to get dirty. And I think he is one of the best puck hounds and puck retrievers on this team. So just looking up and down the roster, we haven't even touched on the defense and goaltending either. I mean, what an acquisition in the summer for Nate Schmidt. Knows what it takes to win. Won a Stanley Cup with the Florida Panthers last year, and I think he has arguably been the most consistent defenseman on this team. And a pairing with John Marino, who they have been arguably the best in the league when you look at some of the advanced metrics. And Karel Vejmelka. I mean, he's got the ability to steal a game for you and absorb the momentum shifts and swings, not if, but when the Vegas Golden Knights will get them and have gotten them in the series so far. So as long as Utah moves their feet and they use their speed to their advantage, they're going to have the upper hand in this series. But as we saw in Game 4, Vegas is not going to go away lightly, especially considering that unbelievable comeback that Utah mounted, coming back from 3-0 down to take a 4-3 lead. And then Vegas relied on their experience, some of the great players that they have, 4-4. And then, of course, overtime, it's usually up for grabs.
Yeah, the other team is trying to win too, right? 11 players on the team with a combined 14 Stanley Cups. And obviously, John Tortorella has been everywhere. I think he's fifth among active coaches in postseason wins. I always find it fascinating in any sport when it's playoff time, when it's tournament time, when the lights are at their brightest, who is the one that really steps forward? And you gave us a great breakdown, but man, Logan, Logan Cooley, this kid, and he's been on the show a couple times. And what I love about him, a lot to love about him, I think he's a rising superstar, but I was down at the game, and even though he looks like he's 14 years old and doesn't look like he could fight his way out of a wet paper bag, he's in every single scrum outside of just his incredible skill. What have you seen from Logan?
I've had the pleasure and honor of being between the benches for all of the Mammoth home games this year. And so I see pretty much everything down there. The interactions between the players, the mixture of English and profanity going back and forth. So, my mute button gets a workout every single game. It's kind of worn down to a nub here by the end of the year. But for Logan Cooley, there is a confidence just shy of arrogance. And I think any person that's great at what they do, whether you're a CEO, you have to have a certain swagger, a certain arrogance that you know that you're going to be better than that guy. Yeah. If I'm going into a battle in the corner with you, I'm confident and I know that all the work I've put in and my mentality is I'm going to come out of that battle with that puck. And if I don't, you're going to leave and you're going to be feeling it. There's going to be a bruise somewhere. So for Logan Cooley, when somebody chirps at him, he sends it right back. When somebody pushes him on his way back to the bench, he pushes back. Somebody tries to take liberty on him, he's not going to leave it up to somebody else. And so that's one of the things that makes him such a special player. And look, we're going to be wowed for years to come. Sign that big contract extension. The $80 million man is going to be a Brinks truck backing up into his driveway a lot of months in his future. But the way that he plays is that the one word that comes to mind is he's a driver. He's not a passenger. doesn't need somebody to drive the line in order for him to be successful on a night-to-night basis and to be able to produce offensively. He's one of those guys that can take a hold of a game, be physical, and he likes that. He wants to be engaged. Give a hit, take a hit. That's the mantra in the playoffs. And so elite speed, they're just flat out aren't many guys that can, let alone skate as fast as he can, but to have the hand speed to be able to keep up with him. That's why he's going to be a highlight reel machine for his entire career.
How open are you willing to allow your mind to go about what this team can do this year? Now, when we were kind of debating the matchups, I'm like, let's avoid Connor McDavid, but Anaheim has them on the ropes. Again, we'll see what happens with that series. And look, there's plenty to do with Vegas to try to get past the first round. But max ceiling, how open is your imagination there, Nick?
I think the imagination has to be all the way open.
Look, I love it.
Is this Mammoth team, is everybody picking them to win the Stanley Cup? No. You never know what can happen. But also don't want to sit here and paint unrealistic expectations, whatever the case may be. But I think without delving too much into coach speak, they just got to focus on one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the imagination should be all the way open. I think already they have accomplished what the expectations were this season, which was to make the playoffs. But you don't stop when you're in the playoffs. Yep. You keep going until you're knocked out and you can't get up off the mat. So for this team, I just want our fans to enjoy the heck out of this run, because there's nothing better than playing hockey this time of the year, whether you can go to the Delta Center and see the games, whether you're listening on radio, whether you're watching the highlights, whether you're watching the broadcasts. This truly is the greatest time of the season. And so I think everybody's imagination should be wide open. But just the fact that this team is in the playoffs, they're in a heck of a series, that just goes to show that the rebuild and now the build is certainly paying off.
Last thing, Nick, then we'll set you loose. You referenced the fans, and I'm telling you, man, I'm there for Game 3, wondering what it would look like. You know, Ray's going to hockey at the Garden, right? I was blown away. Game Ops killed it. The fans were awesome. Everything felt like we have had hockey here for 30 years. Tell me what you've made of our market and how they've embraced it before I set you loose.
Some people will say, of course, you're going to say this because you work for the team. I think we have the best fans in the National Hockey League.
Love that.
I think it's the passion, it's the knowledge, it's the willingness to learn, it's the excitement on social media. The excitement when I have the pleasure and honor of interacting with our fans at the Delta Center or at the grocery store or at the barber shop around town, everybody is foaming at the mouth and are hungry to see this team do well. So I can't thank our fans enough on behalf of the organization. I know I play a very small part in what we do, but I can't thank everybody out there enough for your support, because it gives the guys a boost. It gives the broadcasters a boost. And at the end of the day, none of what we do is possible without our great fans.
Hey, great to see you, man. Thanks so much for coming in. And Tusk's up, man. We all got Mammoth fever. So good luck, Nick. Good to see you, man.
Thank you, Spence.
Planet
And Dave said out loud that he would only do it if he was going to work for Fox News because they tell the truth. Dave said that out loud.
Well, of course, Dave's a really astute guy.
Yeah, he is. Dave Fox live in studio. The reason we were debating it is we have your station on in the studio because we support KUTV. We're partners. Yep. Why is news just existing to scare people these days?
I don't know. But to your point, what started this was they had a graphic up of the water levels.
Yes.
And they picked the 4 lowest reservoirs or water bodies in the state.
Now, I don't want you to get in trouble, so don't.
Well, I'm going to go back to the station. I don't know who built it. It's probably Chase or something. I'm going to say, why didn't you say how much water is in Deer Creek or Pineview or Jordan? Deer Creek's almost 90%. Pineview's like 85%.
So instead they show Lake Powell.
Lake Powell, like 30%. Bear Lake's always low. And what was it, Gunnison or something? I don't even know where that is. But at any rate, so it kind of bugged me. By the way, Jeff Hornacek's daughter, very talented. She works for Fox News.
Shout out Jeff Hornacek's daughter. I want to let you know that the Ron McBride Foundation presents The Head and the Heart 15th anniversary tour Saturday, August the 22nd at the Utah State Fair Park. Text to win tickets right now at 877-353-0700. We did some jazz stuff last segment. Give me your favorite Utah Mammoth player. We'll do that. 877-353-0700. 877-353-0700. My guy Dave Fox is live in studio. Can
I tell you a funny Mammoth story really quick?
Hold on a second, Dave. It's my show. Okay, we'll get there. You know what? Go ahead.
Everything's your show. Talking RSL.
Go ahead.
Check podcast.
Go ahead. Whatever.
I'm just here to make sure people know how to get in the door.
Tell your Mammoth story.
It's not really a Mammoth story. This is more a testament to your listenership.
Okay.
So I'm walking in yesterday, and we get there, generally speaking, before the general public comes in.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to a few of there's a group of the ushers, and you know them, we all
my people,
know them.
My people.
Yeah.
Yep, my people.
And one of them yells, "Hey, Brad Thomas, good to see you." There's only one way. He knew that.
For our listeners who are confused, Dave Fox, once upon a time, was working for 2 radio stations and didn't want his main radio station to know he had took a side gig. So he came up with the fake name of Brad Thomas to throw his employer off the scent. How brilliant, Dave.
But hey, somebody heard that and loved it.
That really is a wild, wild situation. Not a Mammoth story. What is it?
But that was at the Mammoth.
Yes, but what is a Mammoth story is the fact that we have not had meaningful spring sporting events in a number of years around here. So, look, first of all, the Mammoth just simply deserve credit for continuing this excellent build to be where they're at right now. But I think part of the buzz and excitement in the marketplace is that finally it's spring and we have some meaningful sports. It's been a long time.
Yeah, 22, the Jazz last went to the playoffs.
It's been 4 years.
Now, wait till next year when we have the Jazz and the Mammoth in the playoffs. Because this is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I love? Everybody talking about how I've never heard the building so loud. Now everybody doesn't remember. It's what have you done for me lately?
There was a media member who sent out a tweet that said, this is the greatest sporting event that's ever been held at the Delta Center. I'm like, Michael Jordan was there. The most watched basketball game in the history of the world was played in the Delta Center in 1997.
Let me guess. The media member was probably a 20-something.
Oh, no, he might be as old as you are.
And forgot about that.
Yes,
wow.
It was very disappointing.
I mean, it was so widely known that the Delta Center was like the loudest place in the NBA back then. Remember they'd bring out it was like 132 decibels or something absurd. It was crazy. If you were around for that, it was absolutely crazy. This is just as crazy. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. And you're right. We're starved for that kind of thing, especially in the spring. So it's been great. It's been a lot of fun to see this, and let's just hope they can keep it going. It's going to be a tough one tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a case to be made that the Mammoth have been the better team overall. And look, they won more games in the regular season than Vegas did. The Pacific Division is just, I think, it may have been Connor McDavid who called it a pillow fight with a bunch of bad teams. And, a lot of the metrics do favor the Mammoth. This is a scenario, though, where John Tortorella, the head coach of Vegas, he's been around forever, has a Stanley Cup. Coach Torney, he's kind of new to the playoff thing, but I think he's really matched Tortorella in a very impressive way. And you got to go get one more in Vegas. They played well against Vegas all year. And then, like, Anaheim might eliminate Edmonton tonight, and Anaheim and the Mammoth are very similar. They're both young teams trying to grow. I don't know. Nick Olachek podcast today. We replayed it last segment. Western Conference Finals, maybe a possibility.
Yeah, how was that? Did you enjoy it? Nick's a great guy, by the way.
He's very good at what he does. Yeah. I love interviewing broadcasters because I always get a kick out, especially on the radio show, where they're like, hey, hope I'm not taking up too much time. I'm like, dude, take the segment for me, please. Like, I'll take a little bit of a break. He can tell. He's good storyteller.
He's learned well. His father, of course, Eddie Olchek, who played in the NHL for years. We heard terrific broadcaster.
16 years.
Olympics. Yep. Yeah, he's been great. So I like that entire broadcast team. You know, Nick, Sarah Merrifield on the sideline, and Kim Becker with Nick and the pre-half and post, the play, but the whole broadcast crew, they're all absolutely terrific.
The building is amazing. I hadn't seen
cold.
Well, I mean, there's ice, Dave. It's hockey.
It's getting cold.
It's not that cold.
It's cold.
You just wear a little jacket, pal. Maybe a little
game
beanie.
3, I went outside after my first 2 live shots just to warm up, which is unusual this time of year.
Yeah, it's hockey, Dave. They play it on ice. It's going to be a little chilly in the building.
It's cold even for basketball.
It's colder. It's not cold. It's like 55, 60 degrees in there. You're fine.
I think it's 55. It's not 60.
Are you layering properly?
I did better in Game 4.
Okay.
I didn't so much in Game 3.
Well, anyway, this is very classic Dave Fox to make this about himself. What I was going to say is that the building – see, this is what Monson used to do too. Monson, I'm not going to the RSL game. It's an open-air press box. It's cold. And
I didn't say I wasn't going. I'm just stating the obvious.
My favorite Monson thing is he used to complain about kick times because he would have to get a column in for like a Utah football game.
Oh, yeah.
So media members make it about themselves. I am not like that, so I will comment on the building itself. Unbelievable atmosphere, truly. The fans are doing it. Game Ops is killing it. The fans have shown up. And the level of knowledge for a city that's only had pro hockey here for 2 years. And look, we had the Golden Eagles back in the day. We've had the Grizzlies. There just are a lot of hockey fans here in a way that I think some people weren't necessarily expecting.
You know, and great point on Game Ops, by the way. Shout out to those people. And the people even that prep the ice, that, you know, run out there and constantly throughout the night. But the way they run that game, you're right. Right from the beginning. I mean, the open takes like 5 or 6 minutes just to get through all that. And your boy Tusky comes out and
wait. Is that the name of the mascot?
Yeah, you know what the mascot's name is.
I didn't know it was Tusky.
It is Tusky.
I'm not.
You know what the name of the little car is?
No.
You don't know the name of the little Mammoth?
Oh, you mean I thought
the Zamboni.
Oh, the Zamboni. Yes, I did know that was Mammoth.
Yeah. Okay. So that's part of it. But it's almost like it's a theatrical show.
Yeah.
From the beginning, and then it concludes with that little cave drops out of the sky, and then they skate out of it. It's so much fun, and so right from the get go, they've got the fans going crazy. Now, I mean, you have to do stuff on the ice. You got to score goals. You got to win games. But they have the fans are worked into a frenzy before the pucks even drop.
And I'm really happy for Coach Torney because when they were struggling after their strong start, when they hit that wall, and I don't know that I heard anybody around here necessarily talk about his job, but there was some national media speculation like, well, wait a second, this team was supposed to take the step up this year. Is Torney really the right guy for the job? And I think he's answered that question that, yes, he is the guy.
Yeah, and I heard that not even that long, maybe a month ago. They had a couple of bad losses. It didn't look good. And you're right. Suddenly that crept. And you hadn't really thought that much about it at all until that moment. But, man, did they turn it around quickly, and they're playing really well. I mean, to be where they're at. I think before the playoffs have started, if you would have said, okay, you're going to be 2-2 after 4, you'd have jumped all over that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. And, again, they've got to win one more in Vegas. But the coaching conversation, like, Steve Kerr right now, he gave an interview to, I think it was The New Yorker, where he discussed, like Golden State now, of course, is out. There was this scene where Steve Kerr was hugging Draymond and Steph and said, look, I love you guys. And he's out of contract. He hasn't said he's retiring, but he talked a lot about like not wanting to wear out his welcome, right? And coaching just has this natural expiration date. And we've seen it here over and over and over. The end of the Jerry thing was a little awkward. Did he I will never believe he overstayed his welcome. I think the Darren stuff was just unfortunate. And obviously, Whit kind of said the same thing. Like, you don't want to overstay your welcome. You don't want to feel like there are people that want you gone, and yet you're the one that continues to, like, stick around. It's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah, and that makes a situation like Will Hardy perfect, because there was never. I mean, he's going to be a good coach. I think we all believe that. But his bar was set so low from day one.
Yeah,
because he's literally been tanking for. Are we on year 4 now?
Year 4. Mm-hmm.
So he has nowhere to go but up. So a great situation for him. But I can understand Kerr's deal. I mean, he was living high on the hog for a decade, and now that's running out. They're going to have to go through, to a degree. I don't know where tanking's going to go from here, but they're going to have to go through some of that, and maybe he doesn't even want to have to live through it. If you've coached that team as long as you had, do you really want to live through life without Draymond and without Curry and those guys?
Well, Draymond and Curry are going to be around. I mean, they're on a contract.
Not at the championship level. They've already proven that.
It's just, can you talk yourself into a Porzingis, Butler, Draymond, Curry core to do something special if they stay healthy? But do you feel like people can overstay their welcome? Do you feel like that's a real thing?
Well, I think you certainly are living proof of that.
How long have you been at KUTV? Just what's the?
I was going to ask.
My door card still works.
How long have you? How long?
I can still get in the
how
building.
How long have you been at KUTV?
I've been there for 38 years.
Quick follow up. So do you feel like people can overstay their welcome?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, so
yeah, they can definitely overstay their welcome.
Huh.
When that happens, will you let me know, or has it happened?
Well, I'm not in charge. I will text Kent after the.
But
hit,
in your
though.
opinion, is it time for me to move on?
No. I think you're at the peak of your powers, Dave.
I'm at the peak right now?
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, the Brad Thomas days are behind us. But I think right now you're entering the prime of your career.
Wait a minute. I'm going to be at 40 years a year from September.
So, again, quick follow-up. Can people overstay their welcome?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely they can.
No, we want you to stick around because we need the selfie skiing videos set to weird EDM tracks.
You don't like those?
I love them.
Wait till boating season gets here.
No. My favorite selfie video of yours recently I sent to Porter. You were, I think, in St. George.
Oh, yeah. With the fizz drinks.
Went to grab some flavored sodas for the group.
Yeah.
Selfie like you're a 16-year-old girl on TikTok.
Yeah.
Set to some ridiculous song. Shades, straight billed hat. I mean, you're sticking with the straight billed hat even at your age. It's very impressive.
Yeah, that's all. That's how you get followers.
Really?
Yeah, selfies.
How's it working?
You know what's weird? It's not bad, but what's weird is there's some people on TikTok that have like 1 million followers, and all they ever do is 15-second clips of them dancing.
Yeah, I think
that's it.
Isn't that what TikTok basically is?
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Why do you have 1 million followers because you play 15 seconds of you and your friend doing some sort of a little dance? I just don't follow it.
I'm thinking we need you to lean into that. I want 15-second Dave Fox dancing videos.
Well, I try to keep those videos relatively short, as you know.
Snackable content is what they call it, Dave.
Exactly. But I don't know if they provide anything at all to society, but they're fun to make.
Snackable content. NCAA has announced that it's expanding the tournament to 76 teams. That just came down. The NBA is finalizing their lottery reform proposal. We'll talk about this coming up in the final hour of the program. Do the NBA playoffs move the needle for you when the Jazz aren't in it?
I mean, to a degree, not as much. I mean, I'm a provincial guy, I mean, I barely paid attention to the Stanley Cup playoffs until we got to the finals before we had a team.
Yeah.
I mean, did you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've always loved hockey. I was raised in a hockey footprint.
Your dad owned a team. That helps.
That was one thing. But I was also raised in the Northeast where it's like life or death.
Yeah.
So.
But it's, I mean, I watch the games, but I'm not as intrigued as I am. I mean, the 2 years the Jazz went to the finals, following those 2 seasons was just so much fun.
Yeah.
And, traveling to all those games and everything, it was just an absolute blast. It's just different when you're invested, when your own when I say your own, the team of your city, the team that we cover, especially us at Channel 2 because we air the Jazz games, that just means so much more. So given that, I'm looking forward to next year. 45 wins and a playoff berth. No?
I will go 42 and a play-in berth.
Okay, well, play-in, playoff. But
No,
they'll win that.
no.
Okay, they'll win the play-in, though.
Well, especially now with the new lottery reform. You're very much, what the NBA said today is you're very much not in the playoffs if you're a play-in team.
Yeah, okay, good point. But that lottery reform is perfectly timed for what the Jazz are doing because they're done. They're through with the whole tanking thing.
They should
right?
be. They better be.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if we're doing it again next year, I'm not covering them at all.
There's no way they can get away with that. With everyone they've got, the improvement of players like Keontae and JJJ here, I can't wait till Mother's Day. Not only do we honor our mothers and wives, but it's the lottery.
Did you say wives? What are we looking
well, my
like?
wife is a mom.
Okay, I was just wondering if we had multiple these days. You said honor our wives. I mean, it's a callback. I don't know. Maybe you're bringing it back. Maybe you're bringing it back. I don't know. I'm out of the loop with that stuff. Last thing before I set you loose. The Dallas Cowboys had a very good draft. You and Porter are big Cowboys fans.
Well, and by the way, the first the safety out of Ohio State,
Caleb Downs,
is phenomenal. And if he were not a safety, he might have been the number one pick. Nobody picked
some people believed he was the best option defensively besides the two edge rushers.
And then the edge rusher from was it
Malachi, USF.
Yeah, USF.
You really dialed into the draft, didn't you, Dave?
Well, I was more focused on Caleb, but I was excited about that. They took a bunch of edge guys. They took like
five defensive players of their 7 picks. Yeah. It's exactly what they needed.
But that first pick is going to help them. I'm excited for this. I kind of equate him to what C.D. Lamb for the offense, what he's going to do for the defense. It's going to be great. And the Cowboys' offense, let's be honest, it was great. It was best in the NFL. Their defense sucked.
Yep.
So they did exactly what they needed to do, and we'll see how quickly these guys can help.
30-plus points allowed in 9 games. Can't do that. What's coming up on Talkin' Sports tonight, David?
Well, the game last night ended really late, as you know, so we're going to play you. I'm going to give you last night Bear and today Bear. Kind of interesting to hear. This was what Bear was saying after the game. This is moments after, and then this is Bear after he had a night to sleep on it. And we'll play those for you, too, some player sound as well. And you were asking me about the NBA playoffs. I don't show a ton of those highlights night to night because we're so wrapped up in our own local stuff. We'll have some of that for you. Tony Parks calling Bees games. He's got a little rap for us tonight. It's going to be interesting to see that.
Wait, like he's going to rap?
He comes on camera and he does a rap.
Like Robin Thicke?
Yeah, I'm not going to give it away. Robin Thicke is my favorite rapper, as you know.
So good.
It's Brad Thomas's favorite
rapper.
Wait,
too. Hold on. Tony Parks will be rapping on live television tonight?
He does a rap.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, you got me excited.
I'm sorry, but I figured I'd get you to watch.
Good to see you, pal.
Thanks.
Dave Fox, 3 hours down, 1 hour to go. Keep it here, ESPN 700. That would rule if you got Tony to rap. Yeah. All right, final segment of the program, Tuesday afternoon style. Want to let you know that there's nothing like taking in a game on a Sunday afternoon. On a sunny afternoon, or it could be Sunday. You can get your field ready this summer with IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program. It's a blend especially formulated for Utah soils. Get healthy, lush, dark green grass this summer by making your power move today at IFA. New client on the show. Listen up. We're about to turn our calendars to May. So you have 4 months of data at your disposal to help you understand whether or not you followed up on that New Year's resolution to lose weight, get in shape, get back in shape, get in better shape. How you doing after 4 months? Well, if you're like me a couple of years ago, set the resolution to do that, went about my business of eating clean, starting to exercise daily, and after a few months, I just was a little bit frustrated and disappointed that the progress wasn't what I was expecting because I am older than I used to be. That's how it works when you age, after all. So I had a friend recommend Game Day Men's Health. I've been working with them for about 2.5 years. And the great thing about them is you continue to work with them because it's a process they put in place and they track your progress with incremental blood work that can help you understand whether or not you need to change some things here or there or kind of how you're doing. They're giving you right now the same deal they give me, which is a free consultation, about 15 to 20 minutes, a little bit of blood work. They go over your levels, and then they tell you what they have at their place that can help you along with your progress. For me, it was testosterone, supplementing some testosterone, and then utilizing their peptide therapies. And within a couple of months after following their process, I made 10 times the progress I did when I wasn't utilizing my friends at Game Day Men's Health. Free consultation is number one, but the big kicker is that you get 50% off of everything for the entire year if you tell them I sent you in. Game Day Men's Health, go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com, schedule your consultation, tell them I sent you 50% off your entire first year. So that's some good stuff there. Porter, are you concerned about our New York Knicks tonight?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a matchup that I looked favorably upon. So the fact that they're not handling the Hawks is a little worrisome. You know what? I think they get it done, though. I do.
So do I. A couple of pieces of breaking news that we'll get into tomorrow in detail, but the NCAA tournament is expanding to 76 teams. Felt inevitable. Don't love it. We'll talk about why tomorrow. And the NBA is now finalizing their lottery reform proposal. And we'll get into some details on that tomorrow. So some two big pieces of breaking news. You got some Stanley Cup hockey action tonight, some NBA playoff action tonight. Porter, what comes our way on a Wednesday edition of the show?
On a Wednesday edition of The Drive, how about Richard Smitty Smith in studio for his weekly hit, the NBA Daily Assist, with one Tim McMahon of ESPN. We're going to talk with the head coach of the Runnin' Utes, Alex Jensen, on the offseason, and we'll go from there on a Wednesday.
It'll be a fun Wednesday show, so join us for that. We will say goodnight. Special thank you to Chris Comrani, Zach Harper, Nick Olachek, and Dave Fox. For any of the sound you missed from the show, go to the website. It's ESPN700sports.com. Download our mobile app and take us on the go. That ESPN 700 app is available in the App Store and the Google Play Store. And finally, for what we do in our space every afternoon for 4 hours, check out the podcast page. It's called The Drive with Spence Checketts. That's available wherever you get your shows. Subscribe, rate, review, say nice things in the comments, and give us all the stars you can. For Porter, I'm Spence saying goodnight. NBA playoff basketball, Knicks Hawks comes your way coming up after a quick break right here on your home of the